This episode is sponsored by and new.
Look at that! Whoa! Look at that! What kind of cameras are you guys? Jesus Christ! It's so inspirational.
These are flock cameras we're using.
Yeah, Palantir,
That's what
baby.
Dude,
Palantir.
We now work for Palantir. We're using flock cameras.
It's incredible.
This can see right all the way through my eyes, through my past, my history, all the way into my mother's body.
Past lives.
Yes.
Gets
It
into
goes
your
right
past
through.
incarnations too. It's
Dude.
pretty cool. Tech is amazing these days.
We good, Zach?
Look at the lighting. You guys are good. Look at this shit.
What do you mean you have a podcast? You have
Fuck, dude, this is next level. I love Josh in my studio. It's great, but I don't have this kind. Look at me. I look good in this light.
Dude, you definitely, bro. You look. I will say this.
It's the lighting.
It's Conestoga wagon times, right? Like it's the old days, and it's like
Yes.
There's a Conestoga wagon,
Yes.
and it's stalled out on the side of the road, right?
Yes.
Because anything could have happened when you had a Conestoga wagon because you had wooden wheels, remember?
Yeah, I do.
And dude, you could have gotten termites overnight.
Well, many things. Termites. You just think of wooden wheels on some old fucked up. Nobody's paving roads back then. You're going through forests, creeks.
Your wife is guessing where a road could be.
If she's still alive, if she doesn't have an arrow through her throat, if she's not choking on her own blood, spray your wagon's stained with blood.
Yeah, you had 11 kids. Your wife has had kids this week.
This week.
Like it was like that. People don't realize what it was like.
Oh no, people don't.
We know because we've had past lives.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh, dude, I remember sitting on like a hillside or whatever, because everything back then
Yeah.
was a hillside.
Yeah, all hills.
Remember that?
All hills.
Remember everything was a hillside. It's like now there's like a lot of pavement, there's flattened areas.
Thank you, CERN. The fucking particle accelerator fucked everything up. Now there's flat places. It used to just be a series of hills.
Everything was a hillside. Everything, dude, even people's bodies, you'd have the strong side of your father and the weaker side because of how he walked to work.
That's right.
Because you'd have to walk at an angle. And everybody was
Diagonal.
Yes.
Everybody walked diagonally.
It was so different. But dude, your wagon could easily, you wake up in the night, some termites had showed up, right? Like a gang of termites, or Italians, some people called them, right?
Yep.
Showed up
Yep.
and ate a spoke off your wagon wheel.
That's right.
And you got a flat.
Well, Italians used to eat wood.
Yeah.
So you didn't even know what it was. Was it like a wild, ravaging group of Italians, or was it termites?
Yeah, you'd have no idea.
Yeah, Conestoga wagon wood was like the precursor to pizza, apparently.
Oh, it's called the first pasta in some cultures, dude. That's the craziest thing.
Doesn't Conestoga mean pasta? It means pasta wagon.
Well, dude, it's just, of course, like, you could see, like, some strong-jawed Italian showing up, right? And he's
Thanks,
just,
John.
well, he's so strong-jawed just because, his neck and everything is strong from wearing all of his chains. They wore, like, all the chains.
Yep.
And he's so jacked, and he just sees a fucking warm wagon wheel. It's warm because it's been rolling all day.
Yeah. Plus the stink of birth, of wagon birth.
Yeah.
And then, you'd hear him come slithering out of the woods down the hill. You're lucky if you were on top of a hill. Because if you're at the bottom, they just sled on down.
You'd be standing at the bottom of a hill and an Italian would roll right up against your leg.
Yep.
That's how it is. Gravity and Italians.
Dude, back then their stomachs were just like calloused underneath the hair. It was just from sliding down those hills, attacking the wagons. It's a thick, sheeny callus to help them slide.
Yeah.
Terrifying times. People are ahistoric these days. And then, if we don't remember history, we're fucked. Like, you've got to know what actually happened, what this country was founded on.
And I want you to say that word again. People are ahistoric.
Yeah.
And what does that mean, Duncan? When
It
you
means,
say that?
people don't give a fuck about history. They don't care. No one's looking back. Most people don't, and not just like with like U.S. history, world history, but like musical lineages and stuff. People just don't really care.
Well, reparations people are looking back.
Yeah, but
They've got that's the ultimate rear view mirror is people.
Right.
Like if you ride in a car with somebody who's like big on reparations, they're like 7 rear view mirrors in their car. You notice that?
That's a lot, but you have to stop. Like with that kind of thinking, you do have to stop at a certain place. You have to like stop in a certain frame. You can't keep going back.
Right.
You have to stop there is where you, but come on, man, wouldn't you, like, if there was some way for you to get reparations, wouldn't that be amazing? Like, people start That's an incredible income source, you know?
Oh, if they can tap it, I think one of the biggest groups, or some of the biggest groups that probably have at least called out to the gods of reparations, probably in our time, would probably be black, or I don't know if it's African Americans, I don't know if it's black people in general, but I think it would be some African Americans, people that came from Africa
Yeah.
into slavery, or their ancestors did, and then Native Americans. Like, what about that tab was never paid?
Listen, this is why we got to invent a time machine. Because once we get that fucking time machine, we could go back in time to the actual colonizers and slaveholders and take their fucking shit. That's true reparations because they're the ones who did it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, the idea of reparations is like I mean, I'm not trying to call you out.
No, call me
Everybody
out.
knows you have slaves now. But I am not a slave owner. Come on. We all know what's going on in Nashville. Come on. I'm sorry. I don't mean to do. You guys can cut this out. You guys can cut this out.
No.
But I, on the other hand, don't.
Oh,
my
you're the
podcast
unslaved guy?
It's not doing as good. I don't get the numbers you're getting. So you know, you should pay reparations, but otherwise we got to get a time machine, man.
What would we do though? Here's the thing. I'm saying this, and I'm going to be honest with you. We get a time machine.
Yes.
We go back, first of all, in time,
Cooking
right?
bacon.
And we get there. The colonizers, I just don't. What is our strategy going to be when we get there?
And we've got guns. What do they have?
They have guns. That's how they did it.
Yeah, but not like AR-15s. They've got like shitty muskets and stuff. It's going to be very easy to colonize the colonized.
They have, like,
what if there is a
Winchesters
metal
and stuff.
detector when you get into the time machine?
Disable it. Like, it's my time machine. You don't think what? You think that's just part of the build? Like,
You think a time machine is going to come without TSA, dude? You think that the government in Israel is going to let us have a time machine without TSA?
You're right. They ruin everything, man. They ruin everything. You're going to have like off-market underground time machines that are going to spaghettify your ass when you travel through time. It's not going to be safe.
I will say this, bro. They will have like. There's no way you're getting a TSA free time machine, dude. You're gonna have like some lady over there who's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you got a baby milk in there or something." They always like the thing I hate is the baby milk. Or if you're even a woman with full tits, they'll be like, "Yeah, what's in your tit?" They'll be like, "Oh, what's in your tits? Is it baby milk?"
Dude, I feel so bad for old people, pregnant, and new parents going through TSA because like they get fucked up. They're aggressive with them.
Yeah.
They like make you disassemble the baby carriage.
Yeah.
They scan the baby. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they're like, "You're gonna need to open his diaper up," and I'm like, "Open his diaper."
What are you doing? What do you think's in there? It's crazy.
Now I'm a fucking peeping Tom. This is I'm second in line now. It's like I'm getting drawn into crimes.
We're about to travel with the whole family, Theo, and like,
Are you?
And we got a new baby. We got a 5-month-old, and I just got to prep because they do not treat you kindly. God help you if you're a breeder and trying to travel on the 4th of fucking July. You are my wife. I'm fine. You just have to stand on the other side and you just watch it happen. The pat down, the disassembly, the scrutinizing of the tits.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's the worst. And the worst is if they look at your wife's tits like they wouldn't have any.
Right. Like, what do you think's in there?
Yeah.
There's a baby right there. What do you think? She's got nitroglycerin in her
What
tits?
do you think she's fucking? Yeah.
Why? Why are you doing this to
Yeah,
us? The kids are screaming.
What do you think? We're trying to
babies.
get food into Gaza or something? Like, what do you think? What's happening here? with
Bringing
these
my
t-
dad's ashes too to scatter him, so it's like gonna be double. It's gonna be the most dramatic TSA of all time. Because I just am so worried about like, what are they gonna do with my dad's ashes?
Yeah.
Are they gonna search him? What's in there?
Yeah.
What's in my dad's ashes? I have no idea.
Oh.
What could be
Sometimes
in
it's a
there?
molder. I know there has been a look. What is that? What's the most common thing found in human remain in dad's ashes? Dude, and Duncan. Good to see you, dude.
Good to see you, Theo.
Thank you for just making me
The
laugh.
most common thing found in your dad's ashes.
This is actually interesting. Take us through this if you don't mind, Duncan.
Oh, I'd love to. Calcium carbonate, of course, that's some bone stuff. Trace minerals, such as sodium, potassium, and magnesium. Trace metals, implants like surgical screws, pins, or dental fillings after processing.
Ooh, that's pretty cool.
Bourbon crystals you had a southern dad.
Oh, I see that. Oh, just from like salt buildup or something. You had bourbon crystals build up
Just
around his bones.
crystallized bourbon whiskey.
I could see that. A little bit of probably some racial jokes. A lot of dads would have like you're just sifting through the sand of your father and like
Just like
an N-word flies out of
at
there.
least 30 Pollock jokes. Who like no one even understood why your dad was always making. You didn't even know what a Pollock was when you were a kid, but like they were apparently really dumb based on your dad's shitty Pollock jokes.
Oh man, dude.
Wow.
Duncan Trussell, thanks for being here today, dude.
Happy to be here.
And dude, I want to
If
say
you
also
entire
congratulations,
Halloween
you
to
and Kurt
uncertain
Metzger have a new podcast, The Mystery Boys.
That's right, yeah.
Dude, it feels like producer Trevor and I he was talking. Oh, is that a bug?
Mosquitoes.
Or a spy?
Could be a spy drone. Could be a drone.
Dude, if the drones get that small, we are.
They are. They already are.
Well, let's don't. If we start there, it's gonna. Every podcast now starts there.
By the way, whoever's surveying us with your mechanical mosquitoes, you're an idiot. It's a fucking podcast. You could just watch the podcast. You don't have to double film the podcast.
Dude, we've had people on that had their room searched afterwards to make sure that they didn't leave like a listening device or something like that.
Oh yeah, you're getting that level of guests who are living in like it's so crazy how like the more powerful you get, the more you live in a surveillance state. Like you know what I mean? Like the Trump, he's the most surveilled person on the planet, right? Like he lives in the most high security place of all time. He must got like, and it's not just like Secret Service monitoring him.
Right. It's people that he thinks are his friends that I bet he doesn't even know that. I bet he doesn't even care.
I bet he does.
You think he does?
You gotta feel that. You've got remote viewers from like various countries, trained psychic spies. You've got ghosts. You've got, you know,
Ghosts.
a variety
Eavesdropping ghosts.
eavesdropping ghosts, malevolent entities, time travelers. You've got witches actively cursing you at every hour of the fucking day. Think of the way. That's why any president, look at them. Look what happens to them. They melt down. They're crushed by just the sheer weight of occult energy being leveled at them by all variety of sorcerers, necromancers, garden variety witches, like hardcore mountain wizards. You just don't even know what's coming.
Soothsayers, REI counter employees.
Yes, evil eye in you.
Yeah.
Just like you've got the evil eye on you at all times, and so you just get all fucked up, and you like look at Trump. He's got those splotches now. He's like falling asleep.
It is-
Obama, look at Obama. He looked like a ring wraith when he
Oh,
came
he was
out.
white by the time he got out.
He was. He's totally like just withered. All of them.
Obama,
withered.
look at this.
Look at 2009, hope, joy. 2016, you've blown up countless innocent families with drones. You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
hear,
just doing Clinton's work, still doing Clinton's work.
Look at fucking Lincoln.
I know.
All of them. It does it to all of them. Look at that.
Well, first of all, there were only 2 photos ever of Lincoln taken. So all we have is a before and after of him, dude.
Yeah, it's true.
That's
That's true. And also, people look like he was probably 23 in both of those pictures.
Dude, you know what's pretty wild? I was thinking about this the other day. There's not another famous person with the last name Lincoln.
Whoa. I don't know any Lincolns.
Like there's him, Abraham. Was that his name? Or Abram?
Abraham.
Abraham Lincoln. And then Mary Todd Lincoln was his wife,
Yep.
who was kind of like, and then his son Tad Lincoln, I think, who died
No shit.
at a young age. What did Tad die of? But no other famous Lincolns. Think of one.
I don't know any.
That's pretty unbelievable.
I know like a lot of people whose first name is Lincoln. I don't know any famous. Oh, there you go. Edward Baker Lincoln. He died on February 1st at age 3, tuberculosis.
These are the kids. These are his children.
William Wallace Lincoln. Wow. Cool name. Died at the age of 11. Typhoid fever. Thomas Lincoln, known as Tad. His cause of death is tuberculosis, pneumonia, or heart failure. Holy shit.
Dude, but people do not understand, and we do not understand that this was the president of the United States, and 3 of his kids
Yeah.
died by the age of 18 of tuberculosis. whatever the other one was, I think just, and one of them probably was gay and they killed him.
That's always happened. That was 1 out of 3 kids.
Yeah, and then they say that they give it a bigger name.
Yeah.
Like pneumonia or
Heart
whatever.
failure.
Yeah, heart failure.
Oh, we know what happened.
But dude, isn't that the craziest way to describe gay? It's like he should love a woman, but
He had his heart was failing.
his heart failed and liked men.
And he fell into the pigs. Fell into a pig pen and was devoured. Dude, I'll tell
And,
you.
like really, it looked like he was like planning for a beautiful day. He had a picnic basket.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
He had a
was-
letter to Randall in it. You know.
Dale Randall, I know that you're but a peasant. My father's president. But, I'll tell you.
That's why. Think of how wild that is. You have 3 children.
4.
You have 4 fucking children.
4
dude.
children.
Yeah, you just had another child while we were finishing this sentence.
Yep.
But just imagine that. Go on. Anyway, what were you saying?
No, you didn't finish your point. Imagine, like when you have kids, you can no longer watch Dateline. I used to be able, when I was single, I could watch Dateline. Some murderer came in, killed a bunch of kids, exploded a house with kids in it, killed a mom, and the kids watched it. It sucks. It's sad. But
Right.
Like, whatever.
Yeah, it's Dateline.
When you have fucking kids, anything about a kid dying, it's like your DNA changes for real. Even dads.
Wow.
So it hits so hard. Losing 3 of your children, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine. You're not sleeping anymore. You're just a walking corpse. You're gone. Your heart is never gonna be better after
Wow.
that. So that might explain why Lincoln looked like shit before he got assassinated. No offense, but this is what it's like. This is human existence. That's how becoming a breeder really teaches you.
When you choose to have some, when you choose to create more, and then we're all victors. Always been some form of, like at that time, everybody was a slave to the lack of knowledge. Maybe
Oh yeah.
is that a realistic thing?
Oh, I think so. I think like back then you get an infection, you're dead. They're sawing your arm off.
Oh.
I don't even think they had ether. They didn't have like the incredible anesthesia that we have right now where they can dial in just the dose. They
Right.
know the exact amount of time before you wake up. Back then, I think they were just like putting a rag on your face if you
Yeah.
were lucky.
Or somebody sometimes would just whisper in your ear like this: "You're not feeling anything. You're not feeling anything. You're not feeling
You
anything."
don't feel this. You're dreaming. You're dreaming. Just sawing your fucking arm off. That was what it was like back. Look,
Yeah, you're dreaming, dude.
this is actually great. You guys are good. 1850s average cause of death, tuberculosis.
And what was tuberculosis? Let me say real quick. The single biggest killer in many places, especially among adults and children, which is everyone. It's a weird thing to say. In one 1867 Kentucky sample, 18 of 100 deaths were from consumption. Similar patterns held in the 1850s. What is consumption? Can you give me some? Can you also be looking up what tuberculosis is?
I think that's what they called it, consumption, right? Like that was the name for it, consumption.
But dude, imagine you get invited probably one weekend at school. You're a school kid, right? Consumption is an archaic historical term for tuberculosis, a highly contagious bacterial infection primarily attacking the lungs.
Coughing out blood. Happened to Edgar Allan Poe's wife. She died of tuberculosis. Like, just everybody. You would have little. This is, I think, where the handkerchief in the pocket came from. Is like if you wanted to politely cough up blood in front of people at dinner
Yeah.
parties and stuff. So,
Yeah, because if you were poor, you just coughed it into your hand or whatever.
got consumption. That was what it was like back then.
But dude, imagine one weekend as a kid. This could be a real life of a child back in the day.
Yeah.
You go to a kid's party one weekend. Some
Yeah.
kid is having his 5th birthday party, which
Yeah.
at this point is probably 1/4 of his life.
Right. He's
Right.
about to go to work in the factories.
Yeah,
Like,
he'll be at war in 2 years.
2 years he's gonna be fighting. Yeah, he's getting ready to go to work. So this
Yeah.
is like almost working age.
You go to his birthday, and the next weekend you could conceivably go to a funeral of another child or adult.
I guarantee that like every Sunday you're going to a funeral back then. A Sunday you're not going to a funeral is a good Sunday.
Right.
Just go to any old graveyard. Look at all those little graves, dude. Kids were dying left and right. It
Yeah.
was a miracle for a kid to survive.
Sometimes it'll be like Rick, and it was like he's 11 years or something.
Oh yeah, yellow fever. Where I come from in Georgia, the cemetery where my family's buried, it's just like filled with these old graves, and it's all yellow fever. It's all just weird old diseases. Just
And some yellow fever, some people think it's because people hate Asians so much that they die, that their heart snaps. That's not it.
right, yeah.
We're talking about the original one.
Yeah. Actually, Yellow Fever is my favorite K-pop band. Like, they're. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I do have.
I'm sorry, it's hilarious, dude. They know what's going on, dude.
Dude, have you ever heard of Peter Diamandis?
No, I haven't.
So, he's like, it's interesting because there's like a group of people who look at the world right now from a historic perspective.
Okay.
And they're like, shit is really good right now, and it's gonna get better.
That's what Rogan always says. That shit's the best it's ever been.
Well, and people hear that. If you don't know this sort of thing, and some people don't, if you don't realize that, like, if you have electricity, you're doing pretty good. Like, if
You're a modern day wizard.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you could just flip a switch and lights come on, and you could take a shit and flush it, and it goes bye-bye.
And it goes to a poorer neighborhood.
Yeah, well, that used to go out the window. You'd shit in a chamber pot, throw it out the window where it would land in puddles of like blood from people with consumption, horse shit, and
Or just some kids playing. And I bet it was honestly probably like good luck. It's almost like, when like a butterfly lands on your shoulder or something now, it's like good luck. Or if you see a clock, it says 11:11.
Yeah.
But like if you were taking a walk and you just got hit by a bit of the king's shit, like
splattered by shit today. Things are looking up.
yeah, a bit of the king's shit on me.
Yeah, man. And
Thick shit from the king.
nothing better than a king's thick shit.
Bro, because no one else had thick shit back then.
Only the kings.
Who else would have a thick shit?
Everyone's shit was watery shit. But a king's shit.
It was Memphis coffee, dude.
Yeah, Memphis coffee.
But the king shit, he was fucking serving plaster of Paris, brother.
Charismatic. Probably smelled good.
Alluvial.
Yeah, it was, royal shit.
Medieval kings ate a diet that was far more varied and, depending on period and region, often less dominated by meat than the roasted turkey leg stereotype. Roasted meats. Yeah, that seems like normal stuff. But yeah, dude, God. And I bet there were some people who almost like they're down on their luck and they would just hang out outside of because the king's toilets were up like in the air. They were built like, on the second floor or third floor of the castle.
Yeah.
And just a hole would come out of the wall.
Back then you would now. I happen to be an expert on the sewage systems in castles.
Oh, good. No, I want to know about
I
this.
studied it all through school. You'll see here that now that's nice, but some castles you would shit down into a pit, and then the way that you would get lice off your clothes, because everyone was covered in lice back then, is you would put your clothes out over an open toilet, a medieval toilet, and all the ammonia from the shit would kill the lice. So you were wearing clothes that had been lice-free,
Right.
but, like
Shit scented.
smelled like a porta potty.
Yeah.
Smelled like a Coachella porta potty, and that was a clean shirt back then.
Yeah, medieval toilets, commonly known as garderobes, were built over waste shafts or pits that discharged directly into moats. They featured a surprising dual purpose. Nobles used the ammonia-heavy air from the toilet pits to store and delouse clothing, as the fumes were believed to kill clothes lice and fleas. Dude, that's unbelievable. Like, God, you smell like shit, but God.
No lice.
No lice. Come on over.
No lice. You get to pick.
Yeah. Come on over and touch his puss.
Come on over.
Or touch his wiener if you were gay.
Just delouse my underwear.
Yeah.
Lice-free pussy back then.
God.
Can you imagine going, finally, you don't have lice crawling all over your face.
Or your vagina, or the end of your wiener if you're a man. Dude, the very end of your wiener almost looks like a little bit of like a vagina. You notice that?
Are you kidding? That's all I think about.
Yeah.
It does, though.
Oh, it does.
Mine is special.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing. You can. Oh, it's another podcast.
Well, when I was a child, I was born with a very small wiener hole, so I could pee like 15 feet.
Did it expand?
I had to go get a surgery.
You really did?
Yeah.
So it was fused a little bit.
Yeah, it was a little fused, dude. And I mean, I could piss, dude. I could wash a cat's eye from 15 feet away.
Yes.
while, I was born with a very small wiener hole, so I could pee like 15 feet.
Did it expand?
I had to go get a surgery.
You really did?
Yeah.
So it was fused a little bit.
Yeah, it was a little fused, dude. And I mean, I could piss, dude. I could wash a cat's eye from 15 feet away.
Sandwich.
Yeah, it's so good. Did you ever wash a cat's eye?
I mean, I could have.
Dude, you could have. That must have been painful, though.
Oh, I'd surprise a fucking, and nobody knew it was urine because it just came at such a rip.
A fucking rip of fucking yellow piss.
Oh, it was like
Probably
it was,
loud.
oh, and it had a Roger Clemens sort of. It was a.
That's painful. It's like pissing on ecstasy.
It hurt. Oh, it started to burn me at a certain age. I didn't mind it, but once you get in that age where you want to piss fast, dude.
Yes.
Because we had a time in our town, everybody was pissing real fast. And I remember, like, it's just when kids are like, how fucking fast can you piss, you little faggot or whatever.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? And you're like, I'll piss fast.
You got to
know?
piss fast.
And you're straining, but it hurts.
It fucking hurts.
But that's when I was, dude. Oh, I was yeah. I would wash a bottle of whiskey that was sitting on a.
It's a
on
power
a shelf.
washer.
Yeah, it was.
You could clean off graffiti with your piss.
Yeah, dude, I could clean the rims on your car.
Fucking that, and there's money in that. There's money in that.
Today's episode is in partnership with Man. The podcast is the thing who have also say questions of plain settings. And God, what are we talking? The important disclosure at acorns.com/Theo. But God, what are we talking about, dude?
You know what we're talking about, I think.
Oh, it's just how it's been bad.
It's been bad
And
for
this-
a long time.
And in some ways, this may be the best that it's ever been. I do want to talk, though, that you guys do have Mystery Boys podcast.
Yes.
Because do you feel like, because you and I have both had a series of podcasts over the years, do you still have your own podcast?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is my newest podcast with the brilliant Kurt Metzger, the Mystery Boys.
Yeah, he's on my prayer list. I know that.
He's awesome. And he's just, man, his brain just absorbs esoteric information.
Yes.
He remembers like names of ancient grimoires that are hard to pronounce. His knowledge of occult history is amazing. It's like, he's just a brilliant dude.
Oh, dude, his knowledge of Charizards from another realm is something we can't fathom.
I know.
One thing I love about Kurt is I love his voice. He has a great voice.
Oh, yeah.
It's fun to listen to. It's this kind of futuristic but ancient sort of hodgepodge of soundery, you know?
Oh, and he's like connected to some of the most interesting people. The guests he's been getting. We've had somebody who was on who claims to be in a secret space program. I think that's this week's episode. No, it's a two-parter.
Mm-hmm.
But this dude claims that in the military, he was essentially inducted into this top secret program where, I mean, most people don't know this, but the United States has been engaged in a kind of galactic war. We're being run by reptilians. Gray aliens are essentially like IT workers. People don't realize that. One of the stories he told, and what's so interesting about his stories are the details. They take him into this office. They're about to introduce him to this program. He's passed an IQ test. Apparently, you have to have a very high IQ to get into this program.
Huh.
Very high. And it's not a normal, like, written IQ test.
Right.
They have some futuristic thing that just can tell if you're a dumbass or not.
Fuck.
And he passes this. They bring him into an office. A gray alien waddles out.
No. From what, behind a curtain or a door?
A door. Like
Nuh-uh.
a little, I guess, a cat door or something. It just comes
An
waddling.
alien uses a door? That's the part I don't get.
I wish I'd ask because he would have an answer. He would have a great answer for that. In my view, it's like a cat door, like maybe a mid-sized cat door.
Okay.
He comes waddling out, long fingers, and he starts working on a Dell computer. They use him as IT. He just starts unscrewing a Dell computer, I guess, to put more memory in it or something.
Huh.
And they were looking to see how he would react to the fact that a gray alien was working on a fucking computer. And the story is amazing. He gets in trouble.
Bring it up. Can we show the episode just what it is?
Yeah, he got in trouble. So he got in trouble because the first time he met a reptilian, he poked the reptilian in the eye.
No.
And reptilians see humans as essentially just like below snails. Like we're just hideous, foul animals, and to
Really?
poke one of these things in the eye means you are going to be tortured.
When you poke it in the eye, did he say if it feels like an eye, like as if you poked one of us in the eye, or is it almost just like putting your finger into like a gelatin or like
Oh
a
my God, I wish
water,
you'd been
like
there.
a pool of water?
You're gonna have to come, dude. We're gonna have you on the show because that is the level of interviewing skills I don't have. Why didn't I ask? What does a reptilian's eyeball feel like? I didn't ask. I missed it.
They obviously have, because their eyes are just these fucking bird baths into another realm, man.
Oh, dude, they're evil. They're fucked up. The reptilians are really fucked up. They took him,
Yeah, did he get tortured?
dude. They,
Okay, hold on.
dude. They,
I do want to hear it, but I also have to laugh because it always makes me laugh, dude. Because here's the crazy thing, and I'm going to get right back to it. We're going right back.
please.
The aliens, they're fucking bullies.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm so glad you're saying it out
And
loud.
nobody ever says it, dude. All they do, they take somebody away.
Yeah.
They like kind of put their knuckle in their butt or something, or they're fucking like,
Yeah.
fuck them in the mouth, or they're dirty.
Dude, I wouldn't be surprised if you were in the secret space program based on what you're saying. It's almost a direct account
Nuh-uh.
of how they torture you.
What did he say? He knows what happened. Let me try to kill this fly, dude. Actually, maybe let's let science have its way.
Let's see who it goes for.
Yeah.
Let's see who it ends up. Let's see who it drains.
At the end, it's going to drain one of us. This is a new game show. Where
Yeah.
at the end, there's a
Yeah.
fly that's flying around. Whoever it doesn't like or whatever, or whoever it does like, really is the one whose blood it takes.
Yeah. Let's see. I think there's two. That's a problem.
Oh, yeah. They're probably a couple of guys. It's probably Ted Lincoln and his buddy.
Come on. Take the blood. Yeah, they use your.
So, sorry. Did they say what happened? Did he say what happened? How did the
they
torture go?
First of all, they didn't torture him on Earth. As it turns out, on the moon, there are these like government facilities where they are mining helium.
Oh, so they did it at their place or whatever?
They took the U.S. military, because the U.S. military is in control of the reptilians. They transported him to a moon prison where,
This guy you interviewed.
yeah, he was on a prison on the moon.
And how did he get to the?
No, he was
how
not.
How did he get to the interview to send an Uber?
What? I don't know how they get him to the moon. It's
No, how did he get to your interview?
Colin.
Oh God, yeah.
He called in from Florida. He called in from Florida, dude.
Which is basically our version of that's our version of like alienism these days.
That's
It's
right.
It's a call in from Florida.
He called in from Florida. He's a very sweet guy, by the way. Really good
Yeah, he is.
storyteller. And here's where it gets really weird. So, they're torturing you up there on the moon. But also, as it turns out,
Was he a Mexican guy? Sorry to interrupt you. Was he a Mexican guy?
I don't know his ethnicity. It was a call-in, so I didn't get to see him. Why do you ask?
Just because all Mexican dudes want to go to space. They don't act like it. None of them act like it. But I got like a couple of close Mexican friends. They all want to go to space.
Well,
do.
you want to go to space?
Yeah, kind of. Not that much anymore. Like, I don't know. Like, if I want to, like, if I'm going to leave. I'm not going to go
You're not
out there and
coming
come back. I'm not
Yeah.
going to be some little bitch that's like, I'll be back or
You're not
whatever.
going to Bezos. You're not going to go up in a little fucking dick rocket and float around up there. I don't even think Bezos went up there, did he? Did he go up there?
He just sent up like 5 or 6 people that I heard that he wants to smash or whatever.
Dude,
and
of
then brought
course.
him back down. It was like one of his little flying smash buckets. or
Yeah,
whatever.
he flew on a suborbital. I don't know if that counts, man.
Fuck no,
Aboard the
dude.
New Shepard rocket. I want to go out of orbit. I want to go toward like somewhere in between Earth and the moon.
Dude, you can hit suborbital just taking a direct flight up to Calgary, dude.
Oh wait, he did do it. 10-minute flight across the Kármán line, the recognized boundary of space, and reach an apogee. But Bezos sending a bunch of hotties up in his rocket is the modern day equivalent of like driving ladies around in your Corvette. It's like what
Yeah.
oligarchs do to get laid. It's
You're
just
right.
like, I'm gonna send you up to space.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's true.
I-
So the guy who's been to space and was molested in a moon prison gets Ubered over to you. Oh, he's a call-in.
he was molested in a moon. But you're
My
right.
bad.
This is, but how? See,
And I'm
that's,
sorry, it's not funny.
let me know. Well, first of all, whether or not it's funny or not, I need to point out something, Theo. I did not say he got molested in the moon prison. You knew it. Why? Why do you know that? Were you in the GATE program?
Yes.
Dude, guys, Oh my God. You were in Gifted and Talented.
Yes, I
You know
was.
what that was.
Yeah, it was easy to get into in our town.
Okay, but do you know what it was?
Yes. Oh, I've heard there's possibilities that they were. It was like a CIA, like a psyop.
Not a possibility. Like
Really?
that is, you can look that up. That like,
No way. Are you serious?
dude, you can look it up. It was so like, the idea was, it kind of makes sense. Like if you're running a country, who are the smart kids, right? You want to find out like the super smart kids. You create a program
Yeah.
that separates those kids from the rabble, and then via that, in that program, you can start assessing them to see whether or not they'd be good to work in intelligence, CIA, covert programming, or just like any like federal job. And then you start grooming those kids. You start, and where it gets like into the deep conspiracy stuff is they were looking for kids who had like, telepathic ability.
Oh, I thought nice legs or something you were gonna say.
Oh,
So it wasn't like that.
too.
It wasn't like that. It wasn't like a pedophilic thing. So go ahead. They were looking for kids that had what?
Yeah, the secret, look, because
Telepathic
Gate and
ability?
Gateway public school, operated by local school districts, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
to provide military intelligence, the secret military unit focused on psychic espionage and remote viewing, often called the Stargate Project.
But what's that? That's not our thing.
Yeah, it is.
We were in military intelligence, dude. We weren't doing shit. We read My Side of the Mountain.
Well, right. That's what you remember. But do you remember did you get the weird headphone test?
Yeah.
What the fuck was that?
Oh yeah.
Do you
I've
remember
always
the
wondered.
weird shit they made you drink?
It kind of is true, dude. They had this fucking headphone test we would take like once every quarter. Yeah, what the fuck was that?
What was
for?
that? What does that have to do with being gifted and talented? Testing your hearing? What is that? Why'd they put that on us? Why'd they make us drink that weird pink shit? What were they doing to us? Why do most people don't remember it as well as you do? Most people, it's a foggy, weird memory. The whole thing was some kind of bizarre federal program.
You think that that's true?
Look, this is one of the many like conspiracy theories that is not so much a conspiracy theory anymore, that you could look it up. You could see some of it is obviously speculation, some of it's real. So we don't know, but
Yeah, what were they doing?
they wanted to find kids who would be great assassins.
Fuck, dude, and none of our kids made it then.
I didn't make it. Did you make it through? Did they kick you out of the gate program?
No, I stayed in, and
Wow.
then it got a little too homeworky for me at one point.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
I
of
wasn't a company man. That's what it was. At a certain point, I think I wasn't a company
got
man.
it.
So funny, I've never
right.
thought about this in years, dude. But yeah, we had to go off in this special building and learn out there or whatever.
Yeah, they separate you. And it was very strange. I think I made it like 2 weeks before they kicked me out.
What?
But yeah, I just think they were like, the test didn't work. He's a fucking idiot. Like I don't think it had anything to do with like compliance or
You
non-compliance.
seem like you would have been their target. Dog.
Well, I didn't make it. I didn't make it in. I didn't get to be in the secret space program, and maybe that's a good thing. But yeah, according to this guy, there's brothels on the moon. It'll change the way you look at the moon. There's brothels. The miners on the moon are geniuses. Like,
Well, who brought the fucking miners up there? Fucking, it's like is it Lutnick in them or whatever?
dude, I don't know. You don't want to get lost in the weeds when a dude is
fuck?
telling you about fucking on the moon.
Yeah, you're right.
Because he was banging on the moon.
You're lying.
Dude, they
He
have
said he was fucking on the moon?
He was fucking on the moon. Like,
Gosh.
they have brothels. For in between getting tortured, you get to go to the moon brothels. And
Okay, hold on.
it's the best. It's the best.
What? Well, hold on a second, dude.
You gotta just listen to the episode. Like, I'm not even doing it justice because there's so much more detail. There's kind of a love story. He kind
It's
of like
not
fell
true
in
at
love
all.
with a nurse. Like, it's kind of romantic. And he talks about all these densities. Like, the way they shift you to get to the moon is like the reptilians are on the fourth density, we're on the third density. Aliens function like at a different vibrational frequency. They have devices that shift your frequency and can reverse age you. So
I could see that being possible, some of it.
who knows?
Well, because you know what? You start to see that frequency stuff. You've seen that frequency when people put the sand on certain things and frequency.
Cymatics.
It's called cymatics?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, bring up some cymatics if you can,
Dude,
just so we can see what we're talking about.
Love cymatics.
If you haven't seen this, it's basically they put sand, and correct me if I'm wrong, Duncan, they put sand on on like a flat plane,
Yeah.
and then they play music through it,
Yep.
and the sand forms certain, like kind of like snowflakes or figures or textures or
Yeah,
designs.
That's right. Predictable geometries from various frequencies, it produces these like interesting patterns that sometimes kind of look like crop circles, and that's ketamine on that plate.
Is it really?
It works way better with ketamine. I would always do this before I snorted ketamine and put it on a cymatic plate, set it to 47.
Dude, what if you crunched up a bunch of Fritos on there?
It would work.
They'd probably be like, "You're fat. You'll die young."
Turns into a scale.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But this is real stuff. So this is 4 to 2.
yeah.
So these are the hertz, different hertz they put through. And if you've never seen this, it's unbelievable that. So this makes me think that we could, just like this, some way that if you put a different frequency through us, you could then transfer us from one place to another, because you could shape us in a different way to be able to be
Right.
transported.
Exactly. And you know, what is like, when I think of this shit, I just think of like, oh, right, like when people get into conspiracy theories and stuff, inevitably there's like this hierarchy where there's someone controlling someone else who's controlling someone else, and it's like it's reptiles all the way down. Like, where does it stop? Like, who's like ultimately in control? But I think of cymatics, where it's like, well, maybe like the way things keep repeating throughout history in sort of the same way, because there's these various frequencies that exist on planet Earth. There's frequencies that create power dynamics, that create authoritarianism, tyranny, fascism, like cruelty, war, and you can tune into that frequency. And the more you tune into that frequency, the more you like your shape changes.
Oh,
so to
why would
speak.
that not be? Dude, that's cymatics, the study of visible sound and vibration, demonstrating how acoustic frequencies organize physical matter in a geometric pattern.
Yeah.
Because the human body is largely water, sound waves travel rapidly through us, making it possible to use frequency and vibration for various wellness, therapeutic, and clinical applications.
Yeah.
Dude, this is one of the most unbelievable things that I think that I've thought about in a while, because if you see that, do that to that sand, right?
Yeah.
And if you know, what if you put a frequency on it's like, I'm going to feel this way, or this is the frequency that's tuned into this, almost like a new radio station for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, instead of tuning into like no frequency, where I'm just at the whims of the fucking, at the byproduct and like exhaust of the corporate universe we live in, I'm just wandering through that frequency all day. What if I spent time tapping into a frequency that actually brought me some peace, or frequency that brought like, it made me exude like love or possibility,
Right.
or hope or power or protection?
Yeah. No, I mean, this is a choice. You know, you're sitting on the toilet, taking a shit, looking at whatever the algorithm's feeding you. You'll notice the
And I'll
algorithm.
throw this shit out the window. Hopefully it hits someone.
Well, you can aim.
Right, but also so it hits someone and boosts their spirits.
I know, but what I'm saying is you don't have to just randomly throw it. You can aim. You can slingshot it.
But go on. So you're sitting on the toilet going.
Well, but all of us are like staring into these hypno rectangles.
Right.
The algorithm, at least my algorithm, oh my God, it's fucked up. It's just showing me like horrible things, or people in the midst of psychotic episodes, or people in the forest drinking their period blood, or just
Yeah.
it's wild chaos. And
It's witchcraft, new beverages. Yeah, but it's crazy, dude. You'll go from like, it is crazy, dude.
you're right.
They're definitely scrambling our brains, and we're starting to like, with the things you see, because you'll see like genocidal killings of children,
Yes.
right? Kid looking for his mother for 70 days.
Yes.
Finally finds landmine in Palestine, like a landmine wearing his mother's dress,
Yeah.
and they killed the child or whatever.
Horrible.
You'll see that, but then immediately it's like 40% off these Asics, and you're like,
That's right. That's right.
but it starts to confuse your brain, because your brain, it takes the depth of one that's so deep and one that means nothing really at all,
You got it.
and then it puts them kind of all in the same plane.
You better watch out, because you just articulated something that I've learned from Metzger, which is like it's for me, like, it's, believe it or not, I'm kind of skeptical about stuff, but this one, like, it's hard for me to dispute. So he says that assassinations, public assassinations, create trauma, cultural trauma. Charlie Kirk. Did you notice the Charlie Kirk assassination? Everyone saw it before they shut it down. All of us had to watch that shit happen, right? So this produces trauma. The trauma response opens you up to conditioning. It's the same shit kidnappers use. It's the same shit people who torture you use. They freak you the fuck out so that you kind of disassociate. You don't want to be there. You go into a kind of sad, foggy place, and then in that place, they show you the Asics commercial. In that place, they give you some propaganda. In that place, they give you a solution so this will never happen again. This is a known technique for mind controlling people. So anytime there's assassinations, it's not just like power dynamic shift, it's cultural dynamic shift, because they inject that moment with however they want to shift the tide.
Right.
So,
Wow.
so Instagram is, or any social media, is kind of doing this, but like low level.
Right.
So you look, you know, suddenly you're
Microdosing it.
Yeah,
You're microdosing
exactly.
it.
Opening, like freaking you out, and then what do you know? And then where it gets really creepy is the commercial you're getting isn't just from the algorithm. It's because your phone heard you talking about wanting to, like, what's the best fishing rod to catch catfish? And then so right after you watch a furry eat a hot dog with a human turd in it,
Yeah.
and you're like, what's happened in the world? Like an ad for like fishing rods comes up. And you're like, oh, cool. I should get that fishing rod.
And dude, speaking of hot dogs, dude, foot-long hot dogs, that should count as, white people eating foot-long hot dogs should count as reparations, dude, I think.
My God, disaster.
I'm just saying, like,
Disaster.
at a baseball game, whatever, having to eat them in public, dude, it's so fucking scary.
It's crazy that's accepted, that that's not studied.
Yeah. And that's the kind of thing that they're getting us to do. It's like these little, they're sitting in a fucking like globe, like they're sitting in a snow globe on the moon at a you know, outside of a brothel
Oh
on
my
the
God.
moon that they own. You know, probably just like descaling their skin with their like reptilian brush.
You got
And
it.
then they're watching us eat like just like streaming like countless hours of us eating foot long hot dogs. You know, and like,
got it.
and then they say, then they hit you with the reparations thing, you
Well,
know? Like,
dude-
will you sign for reparations? You know, it's like,
Yeah, whatever
know.
it is. It's like, you know, but the reality of it is you're, you know, a vampire only goes where they're invited. That's a vampire rule for some reason. Never understood it, but a vampire only goes. So if a vampire comes to your door, they'll always ask, like, can I come in? And if you say no, they won't come in. I don't get it. That's vampire mythology. So your phone is a fucking vampire, and you're inviting it in every time you stare at it. You're saying, please contaminate me with a combination state propaganda from other countries, corporate propaganda, and like just weird shit. Like we're all inviting this in. All you got to do is stop. Which I can't.
It's hard.
It's hard. It's almost impossible.
you can do, I think there's ways to do better. The ways that I've found that help me are, one, some meditation helps. I do meditation every day now. It's not a ton, 10 minutes, but it helps. Some days I'll get in 2 sessions. But it's not a ton, but it gives me a little bit more space sometimes. Like,
That is
I don't need that. It'd be times like, let me look at my phone right now. I don't need that. And then the other thing I think is different types of plant medicine can help give a little bit that more to connect you back to nature. Those are the 2 that I know.
Well,
But yeah, it's too much, man.
I think 10 minutes of meditation a day is actually pretty admirable, man. A lot of people can't do that. You shouldn't beat yourself up about that. I mean, like, how long were you told to meditate?
I don't know. I just feel like the good people do it for such a long time.
20 minutes, maybe?
Like, yeah, that like 20 minutes seems good. But they did have those monks. Who were those? Don't monks meditate?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, dude, but then they found those monks with meth or whatever. Can you look that up?
What?
Those meth monks?
Meth monks. Oh, yeah, were they smuggling dope? No.
What was it?
A third of monks at a temple in Thailand. That's got to be hard to meditate.
A third of the Buddhist monks at a temple in northern Thailand have tested positive for meth.
Wow.
6 out of 18 monks at Wat Protham in Pijit province were disrobed after failing surprise drug tests during a police raid on Monday.
Wow.
Officers
Damn, dude.
also found meth pills, a homemade gun, and bullets
What the
hidden
fuck?
in the temple.
A
The 6
gun?
monks were
That's
kicked out
good.
of the monkhood
Oh,
and
my
sent
God.
A gun? Dude, a gun is the total opposite of being a monk.
That is a crazy temple. And that is, do you think
A
meth would
gun.
help you meditate?
A meth would help you meditate? No, you would be like, dude, you would be doing all. all the prayers like as fast as you could. It'd be like, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, the kingdom come, give us the right and forgive us against us. Amen.
I don't think those monks are doing the Lord's Prayer.
But that's what they're doing. I think they're probably in a crazy contest online to do the Lord's Prayer as fast as they can.
That's
11 seconds.
hell yeah.
Bro, new record. Fuck yeah, dude. That's what they're doing. That's how, but dude, that's how distracted we've gotten. Monks are doing math and,
Yes.
and they're having contests to read the Lord's Prayer as fast as they can.
Probably. I mean,
And they had a gun. The guy had a gun. How are
you're,
you-
you're paranoid. You're fucking paranoid. You're on meth. It's the next step. You get a gun.
Dude, maybe you have a copy of the Shantaram under your pillow. Maybe.
Maybe.
That's the most risque thing you're supposed to have as a monk.
Yeah, dude, that's wild. That's just, it just was, I guess that's what's happening right now, man. People are fucking snorting meth in temples. They disrobed them,
I know.
which is wild.
But I bet you're hot. If you're all methed out, I bet you want your robe off.
You're done. You're not really a monk at
Yeah,
that
dude.
point.
My buddy was a monk for like almost 6 months.
What
or
kind of
whatever.
monk?
I'm not sure. It was in Oregon.
What color were his robes?
I think his robes was just orange, kind of.
Probably a Buddhist monk.
Yeah. Yeah, Buddhist monk. And he said that they would sit around and, this is kind of crazy, but he said sometimes they would sit around and draw hair on each other because they all had their heads shaved. And they would sit around for fun and draw hair on each other. And it was kind of like kind of the low key, like, you know, or whatever, like kind of a sweet thing that I heard, you know?
It's weird. I don't know, man. I don't want it. That creeps me out.
Bro, the other guys are doing methamphetamine.
I don't know what is worse.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
They were probably drawing hair on each other too.
As we forgive those who trespass. Dude, there should be a contest to see how fast can someone say the Lord's Prayer, dude.
You want to do a race?
You think you could do it? Do you know it?
Yeah, I know it.
Okay, then let's try. You go first, all right? Zach, will you time us?
So, you can tell me when to start or should I just start?
Yeah, how does it work?
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our trespasses, forgive those who trespass against us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. But I kind of swear.
Undertake's great, dude, especially this time of year. All right,
The summer heat.
let me think. All right, dude. Yep. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Oh, shit!
Sure, another chance. Give him another chance. You
One more time.
stumbled.
One
It's
more
okay.
time. I missed some more. Give us
Give us this day our daily
daily bread and
and
forgive us of our trespasses. For we
as we
forgive
forgive those who trespass against us.
All right, let me try one more time. What did it start again? Sorry.
Our Father.
Okay, our Father. It's called our. Okay, because we only had a stepdad. Go on.
3, 2, 1.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread and forgive us this day our daily bread and forgive those who trespass against us. No.
That's the devil getting in you there, making you stutter.
Bro,
That's the mosquitoes. That's the Texas devil flies. Got your tongue.
that's a tuberculosis.
Yes,
boy.
you got a consumption, spiritual consumption. You got to let the Holy Spirit flow through you, Theo.
Hey, pretty lady, won't you give her a sign? I give anything to make you my own man.
Praise God.
God.
When your auto insurance shows up, every call, every claim, every day, that's a win. JD Power has ranked AAA #1 for auto insurance customer satisfaction in the Southwest. 2 years running. Get a quote at AAA.com/quote. Visit JDPower.com for details.
You know that Mountain Dew, you know it makes me think about summertime. That hot part of the calendar. You know how it works. You know when the calendar just gets hot. It is turning around. First of all, congratulations.
Thank
dude.
you so-
Summer. But dude, you win. First of all, congratulations.
Thank
dude.
you so much.
9.8 seconds. That was really good.
Yeah, I can't believe. I haven't. That's wild. Like,
For our Father in under 10 seconds, I think that's good. And I would love to see other people, if they want to, challenge Junkin on that.
they will crush me. There's going to be critiques too. There's different ways to say it depending on what denomination you are. I think that was what I learned as an Episcopalian. But I think my wife's Catholic. I think they say parts of it are different. But I don't know if that's gonna add or subtract seconds.
Dude, my girl Catholic, but that see Baptist. You feel me? Let's go.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm just making up. I don't have a girl, but if I did,
You don't have a girl?
no, but she'd be cute if I did.
Wow, it must be tough to find a girlfriend for you, huh? Just a handsome dude with a super successful podcast.
One day I'm gonna get one. I mean, it'll
Famous
happen.
comedian.
I think you know what? There is like an age where I think it gets a little bit weird, and then
What do you mean?
maybe I'm just. You know what? I think some of the stories I tell in my head, I got to change a little bit.
Yes. Dude, there's this.
And you know what's funny? I never said that. I've never said that before.
You've never said that. Come on. There's a book.
Not really. No, but the ones I'm telling myself, because I don't even realize they're being told. They've just been written on this wall, like these old, like, this
Yeah.
is the way it is, or whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm gonna find somebody great. Of course, it takes time. Everything in my life is taking time, and
Yep.
I don't want to get somebody that's just like, you know, like I want to have some fun, but at the same time, like, yeah, I want somebody that's gonna be as perfect a fit as I can get.
Dude, if there's this book, and it sounds like bullshit, and I actually got the book because I was watching that documentary on Nexium. You know Nexium cult, Keith Raniere? You know about that?
Yeah, we had a guy on here from Nexium, didn't we? Oh no, we had a guy who got bit by a dog at a Nexium event.
What?
I'm not even joking. Who was that guy?
That sucks.
He was fine.
He was like at a cult event and a dog bit
And
him.
he got bit by a dog, but that's how he got involved with the cult.
Whoa.
Oh, that was it. Oh, no, Michael Jordan's mom. No, not him.
That's out. Yeah.
Oh, he was talking about Allison Mack sex cult.
Yeah.
There was another guy who'd been cured of. Oh, he got cured of
OCD.
Yeah,
Right?
cured.
Or not.
Cured by Nexium. Yeah, cured by Nexium. Mark Elliott.
Yeah.
Bro, look at me right there. I was young. It's AI.
You look younger now.
Well, I'm older now, but also not. I'm definitely older if I keep telling myself that I'm a fucking boss. I'm a fucking man, you little. Mark Elliott, a former motivational speaker and loyal follower of Keith Raniere and his organization of XM, reported self-improvement company. I believe he got bit by a dog. I could be wrong, but I thought the dog, something happened. He got cured. He was diagnosed with Hirschsprung's disease.
A rare intestinal disease at birth.
Elliott was returning home from a camp via Greyhound bus when he repeatedly shouted an anti-black racial slur at black passengers. That's called riding Greyhound, first of all. I think some of that comes with the price of your ticket, I believe, also. Okay?
Yep.
I rode G-Hound for a long time. Shout out Hound. Because he had Tourette's, though. That's why. Did he ever cure it, did they say?
He claims they cured it.
He cured it.
It's in the documentary. Like, it shows people being, like,
It did not cure my Tourette's in any way.
oh.
Oh,
Whoops.
well, then why did we have him on the podcast? He said he did.
Fuck. In the documentary that I saw, it was, it was claiming that they cured it.
Oh, well, so maybe it says it didn't cure his Tourette's, but I can't remember exactly what happened in the episode. It was just like 7 years ago.
In the documentary I saw, it was, some people, it seemed like it was helping, but I heard about this book on this documentary. And I was fascinated by this Raniere guy, because it's like, you see him, and he doesn't really seem like somebody who would successfully start a sex cult.
Bringing him up.
You know what I mean? No
judgment.
judgment or anything, but it wouldn't be like the first person I would guess. You look at like pull up a picture of like young Charles Manson
Right.
and Keith Raniere. Manson, you look at and you're like, okay, there he is.
Right.
This dude was getting ladies to brand his name into their fucking bodies.
No way.
Yes. Now if you look at him, you wouldn't guess that, but pull up like a picture of Manson.
That's some Montana shit.
Young Manson.
Young Manson.
Or
Wow.
not that young, that Manson. I could see, look at him, you're like, yeah, I could see you starting some kind of sex cult. I could see your members cutting swastikas into their foreheads, but this dude looks like somebody your mom dates before she marries your stepdad.
But this dude does look like he has a dark side to him, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this is just all based off of one photo, but that guy looks like,
Yeah.
He dates your mom. You think he's nice. He comes in the house and says cool stuff.
Yeah.
But he doesn't come through with kind of his promises, and then you see him yelling at your mom outside of the apartment window.
Yeah,
That's that fucking dude.
That's what it is.
Keith Raniere, could we get him on here?
He's in jail.
He is?
Maybe you could call him from jail.
Dude, jail, that's the most sex trafficking you could ever do. It's bumper to bumper in there, dude.
I know. This guy, the documentary's incredible. And, obviously, like, it's horrible. Like, doing this is horrible. But when you just watch it in terms of like, whoa, like the ambition, like, oh my God, how did you pull that off? And so they mentioned this book, Psycho-Cybernetics, which sounds like horseshit.
Yeah.
The name sounds stupid, but I got this book and started listening to it. And it's this plastic surgeon wrote the book, and he noticed that you would give plastic surgery to people and their personalities would change, fix their nose, and they would turn into these different people. And so his premise is that there's sort of an internal visual image of yourself inside of you. And so basically, like, if you look at what you think about throughout the day, and a lot of people ruminate. They're constantly bringing up things they're afraid of in the future or shit they wish they didn't do in the past.
Yeah.
And this is what's creating the you. It's you're habitually running through a Rolodex of bad memories and internal fears and stuff. And so he's saying that what's really cool about that is it shows you how disciplined you are. You think you have no control over that, but you do. It's just habit. And so what he says is, there's a lot of techniques in there, but one of them is, what happens if you start habituating yourself to remembering good moments in your life instead of bad moments in your life? And it sounds so obvious, but every time you find yourself getting freaked out over that fucking memory, the thing, what you're worried about, the thing, you replace it. And he says it doesn't have to be a big thing like winning a marathon. He's like, he uses the example of when you learn to tie your shoe.
Yeah.
You know,
When somebody smiled at you.
Yes.
When you smiled at someone.
Yeah, that's enough. And you start replacing this habitual rumination with good memories. Even if they're from the distant past, it doesn't matter. All of a sudden, your life starts changing because your inner identity will begin to conform to the things
It'll begin to lead your outer identity.
That's right. Yeah. You start making different choices. All this stuff changes in your life. So his point is you don't really need to get plastic surgery. He was saying that some people get a scar on their face and it makes them more powerful. Like he was, I think the Nazis, the fencing Nazis, if you got a scar on your face, it means you were like a great fencer. Yeah. But some people get a scar on their face, it ruins their life.
Right.
You know, so obviously what's going on there is not the external appearance.
Wow. It's how your brain, it's how you're wearing it.
You got it.
Dang. And I wonder what if we all just don't even, I've long thought this, what if we all don't realize there's so much more capability that we have that we just don't know? I believe that that's such a truth. Like, what if you could think your way into looking somehow different? Like, that's almost, it's interesting for a plastic surgeon to say that. Because it's like, what if people can think or believe themselves into actually that you would then visually somehow look different? Like, I know it probably would be tough to really unstructure your, like it wouldn't, skeletally that would be probably impossible. But on a different type of level, or could your skeleton morph over time? It's interesting to think that, wow, if I had enough belief, or if I pervade this type of energy, or I just envisioned it enough that I would actually become the thing that I envisioned.
Well, pull up like an early picture of Marilyn Monroe before she got famous.
I go visit her grave sometimes.
You really do? Is she in Nashville?
She lives, she dies, I guess. She lives in a coffin around the corner from where I live at.
She lives in a coffin.
In Westwood, I mean.
Craziest way to
Or what I'm
say
saying
dead.
is she's deceased.
She's living in a coffin now.
Yeah, but
So
that's her?
Yeah. So that's Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
Now I will say this. She's an attractive young lady. She's not the Marilyn Monroe that we envision.
Still beautiful.
You sure that's her?
Yeah, like find some other like early pictures of Marilyn Monroe before she was famous. I don't know how you find that because like a lot of these are like modeling pictures. But when you look at them, it's like, there you go. And like, you know, obviously you could say, I'd suck her feet still, but you could say that this was, you know, lighting, makeup and stuff like that. But there's a story I heard. I don't know if it's true or not. Marilyn Monroe is at a diner. She's with one of her, like, I think childhood friends, and like, no one even knows it's Marilyn Monroe. And Marilyn Monroe says to her friend, "Do you want to see what happens when I become her?" And her friend's like, "Yeah." And so all of a sudden, she does something and turns, like, essentially shapeshifts. Like, she embodies Marilyn Monroe, and everyone in the cafe starts looking at her like, "Oh my God, that's Marilyn Monroe." So this is what this dude is talking about. That, and how many times have you been with a person who maybe isn't like classically beautiful, but their personality
Yeah.
is so amazing that you start falling in love with it. You realize the physical appearance, it's nothing compared to this spirit inside of them. And the converse sadly happens, where you're around a beautiful person and you realize, oh my God,
Oh.
this is a monster. And it's so fascinating. It's just the shell, it's like a lampshade or something. It's like, what kind of light is shining through?
Dude, that's a great way to say that, man. It's like a lampshade.
There
Okay.
it is.
The Marilyn Monroe shapeshifter story refers to a famous anecdote where she could alter her appearance simply by changing her posture and energy. When walking down a busy street unnoticed as Norma Jean, she would turn to a companion, ask, "Do you want to see her?" and instantly transform into the iconic Marilyn. People who were with Marilyn during these moments, such as her friend Eli Wallach or the actress Susan Strasberg, noted that she changed nothing about her clothes or makeup. Instead, the transformation was a masterclass in embodiment. Wow.
It's wild. That stuff is wild that you could do that.
But it is interesting, yeah, how I feel. What do I carry? What am I going to take outside with me today? What am I going to take inside with me today?
Yeah.
And I applaud like parents because I know their lives get so busy, and the time that they have to even take for themselves.
Yeah.
And the time that one of them's like, "Hey, will you keep watch for a little bit while I just go meditate for 10 minutes or
Yeah.
brush my teeth
Yeah.
or pat myself on the back or cry in the bathroom?"
Yeah. Yeah.
You
man.
know?
Yeah, it gets wild.
Like,
it really
I think that's a
does.
real war. It's a real tandem. It's a real, if it's working well, I bet it's a real tandem thing. And sometimes it's painful and sometimes it's beautiful and sometimes it's probably a lot of things. But I applaud that. The amount of time parents has to be like,
Oh my God. Well, but the thing is, and you're right, and you're totally right. The amount of free time I have now compared to the free time I used to have, like I could spend days alone in my house, blasting Rails Academy, completely alone, happily alone, playing video games,
Yeah.
alone.
Well, cool.
And I would get bummed out if I had something to do like 2 days. 2 days away, I'd be
Really?
stressed out. Yeah. but
bro, that's when you know you're going to be doing some drugs. Dude.
oh yeah, man. And but now I have no very what people would call free time.
Yeah.
But what is free time? The real question is like the example that I've been taught in Buddhism is we all have a version of a place where this is where I'm going to feel all right. And for like a lot of people, maybe not touring stand-up comics, for a lot of people that could be a hotel room, a nice hotel room. You can order room service, the TV, the soft bed, no disturbances, phone is off. Now I will relax. So this creates a terrible tension between every other moment. Like everyone has their place, the place or everything. This is where I'm going to be. For some people, it's just coming home after a hard day's work, sit on the couch, whatever it is. For some people,
Right.
everyone has their little oasis in their mind. This is the place.
Yeah.
But the idea is, this is an illusion. The oasis is an illusion. You go into that place, the place isn't giving you relaxation, the place isn't giving you peace. You're deciding, this is where I will be at peace. Theoretically, you could do that through the whole fucking day. Your whole day could theoretically become that place that you're hoping to get to when you have enough money, when you finally get a vacation, when you finally get a moment to yourself. And this is what I have read as one of the definitions of enlightenment. Enlightenment, this is a definition I heard, because it's even defining it is difficult, and who the fuck knows. But the idea is, what if every place you were at was free time? Even though it was filled up
Right.
with all kinds of activity, even though there were things you had to do, what if you were maintaining this sense of, yeah, this is where I belong, this is good, this is the vacation. No, and this is in the third patriarch of Zen. He wrote this great
In
book.
Buddhism, you learn this?
Yeah, the first line, and I wish I could. The name is like I think Japanese. Can you look up the third patriarch of Zen? And yeah, that's it. And he wrote, "The great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. Your preferences are tormenting your ass. You want to be there. You don't want to be here. You want to be somewhere else. And when you're a parent, your preferences will destroy you. Because you, obviously, there's moments that I just want to play Diablo 4, dude. I just want to sit on the fucking couch and play Diablo 4. I just want to be alone. I don't want to be around anybody for a second. That's a preference. And the more you cling to that, the more you'll suffer. The part of the soul that burns in hell is the part that clings to life." Wow. That Meister Eckhart, but dude, for sure.
Dude, I think about that stuff a lot, dude, with like, sometimes with like reliving old parts of my past or old stories or just like, old things that happened. It's like, how long do I want to think I have to figure this out before I just want to set up some barricades for myself now that's like, hey, we're not going to go try to figure that out anymore. We're just going to move on, right? And we're going to move on and we're going to put boundaries in place so that when this thing or certain types of people or this energy comes around, that this is how we're going to behave towards it.
Yeah.
And we're not going to be like mean to it, but this is how we're going to operate now. Instead of like, I get stuck in this place of like, well, I'll figure this out, or a little more therapy and this and that. And the therapy and stuff, it's all good, right? It's all helpful. It's all like puts a magnifying glass on things that are cool. But to at some point be like, this path, it's a lot. I don't know. I've been on this path for a while. Let me try to do something else. Let me try to move forward. Let me try to not even let this be let me really let this be part of the past.
Yeah.
Instead of going back to the past to solve something. Like, that's the thing. Sometimes I keep going back to the past to solve the present. Where it's like, let me try and do this maybe a little bit different. And so I've just been thinking about that recently. Thanks so much for some of the chats, dude. I want to find out what's a rabbit hole or like something that you guys have learned on Mystery Boys. But I just want to get this update. The guest, Mark Elliott, clarifies that he does not claim to have been cured of Tourette syndrome. Instead, he describes his experience as a journey where he found a way to master the condition, noting that while the symptoms have drastically reduced, he still feels the urge occasionally and works to change his relationship with it.
That's
interesting. Cool. Yeah. Write it down. That's what I do, dude. Write it down. With Mystery Boys, what is a rabbit hole kind of that you, or something new that you guys have like latched onto that's been like really interesting to go down, that you and Metzger have?
I got to give full credit to Metzger for most of the rabbit holes. Like, I'm telling you, this guy, he like, it's...
Do you think he's good or evil when you think about him?
He's good.
Okay.
Very good.
This is a pop quiz, man.
Why? Do you think he's evil?
No, I don't. I was asking you. He actually texted me and told me to ask me that.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you at all. So it's just a good...
Oh, he's the sweetest.
I know him. I've already decided how I feel about him.
He's good. Really good.
Okay.
I wouldn't do a fucking podcast with an evil person. Why would you do that to yourself? That's horrible.
Dude, do you ever think, what if one day you got home years from now and you started to notice like something like your skin around your chin or something, and you started peeling it, and then you took it off, and what if we were the aliens, dude?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Like this whole time, we've been trying to hunt the aliens.
Sure.
And then you peel, you're like, what is that?
Dude.
You think it's acne, and it's just fucking abracadabra, you're an alien.
Oh my God. And then you peel the alien mask off, and you're human.
Yeah, and you're a cool black guy.
So what the fuck are you, man?
Yeah.
What are you?
To turn it up. Bro.
Yeah. You know,
Spin that shit. How about this, dude?
I'll give you a quick one.
Yeah, take me down, but I want to go down a rabbit hole.
Okay.
And that was, and no, Kurt didn't ask that either. I was just joking around, dude.
He's far from evil. But Metzger did give me a little bit of trivia, which I'd never heard before, which is the most batshit thing ever. So, John Wayne Gacy, the famous serial killer.
From Illinois, yeah.
Horrible motherfucker, the clown.
Yeah, pedophile.
John Wayne Gacy, pedophile fucking clown. Just horrible human being. you plucked.
Lazy too. Lazy. Killed people, put him under his house.
Oh yeah, he said that if he was guilty of anything, it was running a funeral home without a license because he had rotting child corpses under his fucking house. Also, weirdly political. And so John Wayne Gacy was executed on a solar eclipse, which is already weird. Like, what, there's gonna be eclipse that day.
Right.
Why are you executing one of the most notorious serial killers, like on the day that, like in a horror movie, that's how you get a zombie,
Right.
a Freddy Krueger, that's how you get a demon or something. Execute the person, it's a solar eclipse. They come back to life or they haunt your dreams. So that's just weird by itself. But coincidentally, Jeffrey Dahmer was baptized, and I'm not sure into what denomination of Christianity, on the same day. Another fucking serial killer baptized while during the execution of, like, so it's
So a spiritual realm is open,
yes.
and a calendar, a seasonal, what realm would that be?
What do you mean?
Like the spiritual realm is open with the baptism. Like there's a spiritual
Right.
like embodiment happening.
And in eclipses, just so, like, in the West, we think they're cool. Everyone goes out.
An
you get your-
eclipse?
You get your eclipse glasses. Everyone goes out to look. They are fucking cool. I've been there. They're amazing. It's amazing to witness the temperature drops. Shadows get weird. But, like, one of my friends who's like a Shaivite for real, like who like, Hindu follower of Shiva, he was explaining to me, like, in India, eclipses are not something you want to go out under. Like, it represents an opening where a lot of weird shit can come into this realm. So, his advice was don't go outside during an eclipse. Like, you don't understand the energies that are out there. This is in their cosmology. So it's a very powerful, if you're not into the woo stuff, it's a very crazy thing that happens, and birds stop singing. They think it's nighttime all of a sudden. Like, it's just a very deep spiritual moment. So why do you execute this monster during an eclipse? And why do you baptize another monster during the eclipse? And why on the same day? How is that accidental? And maybe that's cymatics. I don't know. Maybe that's just part of like the weird secret gears in the universe we don't know about. But to me, it's very fascinating when moments like that emerge.
Right, when the curtains are open a little bit into the ethereal, into the next realm, when somebody spiritually, or kind of when there's an anointment and an embodiment, putting blessing somebody with the embodiment of God, like bringing God into their heart,
Right.
That's risky behavior, dude. I wonder if do you know if it's kind of weird that we get people to go outside and look up into the eclipse then?
Yeah.
Was that always a practice? Or did people used to not stare into the eclipse?
Oh no, dude! People went blind for sure. There's a famous.
But people went blind just because they were 8 years old back in the day.
Well,
you know what I'm
you
saying?
would just go blind from drinking water.
I mean, dude, imagine how scary. Dude, everything was a game show like 200 years ago, dude. A cup of water, you could get undehydrated or tuberculosis.
What do you
dude.
want? Explosive diarrhea?
Yeah.
You want to die of thirst or die of dysentery?
Yeah,
Pick.
yeah.
It's one or the other. One or the other.
No, people have not always looked at eclipses. Historically, witnessing an eclipse was often met with fear, awe, or strict avoidance rather than direct observation. Because ancient civilizations lacked scientific explanations, many cultures considered the darkening of the sun to be a bad omen or a disruption of the natural order.
That makes sense.
For sure, many cultures believed a celestial creature was attempting to devour the sun. The Norse blamed sky wolves. The Chinese told tales of a celestial dragon, and Aztecs believed a jaguar was eating the sun. People would often bang pots, scream, or shoot arrows into the air to frighten the monster away.
And it worked.
Yeah. But it is. When did we start? When did we start seeing eclipses and going and watching?
I mean,
them?
forever.
But did it become a practice? Like, was there something that happened? Like, it was a big thing on television, like go see the
sunglasses.
eclipse or whatever.
It was always significant. I mean, it's just like
Yeah.
no matter what period in human history, like, can you fucking imagine like not knowing what was going on, why
But
that
dude,
was
how
happening?
much fun would we have had back then? First of all, you get to make up what's going on, right? Or
Yeah.
you just get to believe what's happening. Like, you get to believe what's happening. But I
Yeah.
just think imagine everybody's imagination back then.
Yeah.
And everybody's like storytelling. Like, you had to have a piece of information to even. You had to like. Life was probably scary. You had to seem viable. You had to fight for your existence, probably.
Well, I mean, this is what I think is interesting.
Like,
When-
you valued your life more because
Yeah.
your sibling was dying at home. It was
Yeah.
like let this day mean something to me.
Yeah.
Let this information that I'm reading to let the fact that I can absorb information, let it mean something to me.
Right. You're saying that now maybe we've lost that people have become sort of numb, nihilistic husks who don't value their own existence like they did when you watched your friend get eaten by a wolf.
Right. I think I think we are deeper in it than we know. I think we are up to our waist right now in it.
In what?
In the suction of the devil.
Oh, right.
In the suction of something deviant, in the suction of the dark arts, man. I believe that it is. We think we just have nice pants on, but we don't realize that we've invited these skins of we've invited something. There's something very demonic going on. Do you think technology is inherently demonic?
Oh my God. I mean, okay. So first, like, let's define demonic.
Okay.
So what is your definition of demonic?
With intent to harm, let me see, demonic. I would say of Satan's will,
Yeah.
with intent to be a succubus to the godliness to the nature and morality and godliness that exists inside of us as a group and as individuals.
Okay. So
Does that make sense or
did
not?
you have Bishop Robert Barron on your show
No.
yet?
Cool
you
guy?
Gotta have him on.
BRB?
Yes.
Damn, dude.
You
What
guys
a
will hit it up.
crazy though.
You guys will
crazy
hit it up.
initials to have.
Yeah, he's really cool. He was a
Sign him up, all right, Zach?
I had him on my podcast, and what's really interesting is actually having him on my podcast got me more interested in Christianity than any other time in my life. And the reason was not necessarily what he told me, though. He's a really cool guy, and like obviously he's like brilliant. He's a bishop, and he's obviously a theologian, and
He's Orthodox, Greek Orthodox?
he's Catholic.
Okay.
I don't, yeah. So, but what was really weird is, I've had so many guests of all kinds of, I've had Satanists on the podcast, I've had witches on the podcast, I've had Hindus, Buddhists, New Age people, LSD chemists. I've had all kinds of, generally,
Wiggins? God's Dalmatians. they call
and
him.
never. And
You haven't?
Not yet.
Bro, that's a road to go down. That's
Yeah.
the eclipse, dude.
No.
That's the eclipse.
No, I probably have. I have to go back and look at the catalog.
That's a human eclipse.
But dude, I have one Catholic bishop on, and man, people got so mad at me, and it was really interesting because it's like, wait a minute, what the fuck? Like, you guys didn't care when I had like people who.
Were you trying to demonize the guy? Why'd they get mad?
Well, because like basically what started bubbling up was that I moved to Texas. I'm having a bunch of fucking kids. I've become some kind of fundamentalist Christian. All this, like, I love religion, and I love Christianity. I love I'm fascinated by it, and the New Testament is so beautiful and so different from what most people think it is. Like when you sit down and actually read it yourself, if you have an idea of what Christianity is, you realize whatever that was is not what this is, which is to me a really sort of thrilling moment in studying any religion. Like if you're going to critique a religion or a philosophy, really, I think you just study it deeply, and then you can go for it, right?
We got to start doing that more, I think, on here is learning about some of the depths of different religions because you see a lot of stuff online that can lead you in certain ways.
But demons.
Yep. Satan and demons. I believe that Satan is way more active than we think. I think we got into this lush period of of self, believing that something was taking care of us. Not that something doesn't love us. I believe that.
Yeah.
But we believe that something was taking care of us, that we didn't have to show up for our own salvation, not just religiously, but for our own salvation as human beings as well, for our own day-to-day salvation. Do you think that we are strong enough or care enough to save ourselves?
Well, I mean, I hear what you're saying, and that's a really good question, because I think you're pointing towards a misconception, or in Buddhism, what would be considered a distortion when it comes to what people think they are. So in Buddhism, this shows up as something called interdependency, or dependent co-origination, which means that we're all connected, that the clothes that you're wearing, everything that you are, everything around you, everything is there because of causes and conditions that created the situation that we're in. So, in other words, when you ask, are we enough to save ourselves? It points to a distortion, which is we think we are an individual self, disconnected from the system.
Right.
And of course we're not enough to save ourselves. And I don't just mean in a spiritual sense. I mean, everything that we consider that we need for survival around us right now is there because of the labor and work and energy of people you're never going to meet. The food was hauled in on trucks, the plastic in the Fiji bottle, your clothes, everything, your books, the trees that grew to make the wood for your son. All of these things point to a complete tapestry of existence, meaning there isn't such a self anyway. But if you think that you're a self, then if you're foolish enough to think you're all you need, it's like, look around you.
Right, but no, I mean, I agree. But do you think we are strong enough to show up and save ourselves?
You mean as a species?
As a species, because I feel like we're kind of on the brink of this place where something could happen, or where this I don't know. It seems like darkness is trying to defeat us.
Oh yeah.
And it feels like, are we strong enough to save ourselves? Because some days it feels like maybe, and some days it feels like maybe not. If I'm real honest.
I don't think. I think that I think a lot of people's suffering is related to self-cherishing. A lot of people's suffering is related to being misdirected. There is a misdirected force in the universe. Now, Bishop Barron, he was saying, well, what is the definition of Satan? What is it, the actual definition of Satan? What is it described as? And he said, it is the accuser, the scatterer, that which scatters. So if we're going to come up with a definition of the demonic, and the question is this technology demonic? And let's just throw the word Satan out for a second, because that does create a knee-jerk reaction in people. A lot of people do have religious trauma, for real. And I know that word gets thrown around a lot, but some people are born into highly abusive households where religion is used as an excuse to fuck with the rational mind or people. It's not.
Right, I'm being a little bit flippant about it.
No, I don't think you're being flippant. I think
But you're just clarifying.
But so for some people, it's useful to throw out words like that, and you don't have to use that word if you. I think it's a useful word, but
I could mean the devil, the dark energy,
whatever you want to,
Okay.
But Satan does have some specific definitions: the scatterer and the accuser.
That's exactly what's going on
What
right
is
now.
technology doing? It's accusing one group or another group of being the source of all the suffering in the world.
I agree.
The accuser. I've seen you, Theo, accused of, because of the people you have in your podcast. It's all your fucking fault, dude. Look what you've done, right? But it's not just you.
Yeah.
It's not just you. It's what technology is doing, what the algorithm seems to be doing, is creating these very clear, distorted distinctions between groups of people.
Right.
Which is anytime you have direct one-on-one contact with most people, they're awesome. They might be annoying, they might disagree with you,
Might be chatty or whatever.
chatty, but in general,
They're good.
people want to help.
Yeah.
People actually really want to help. It's very sweet.
But I agree. You get behind these phones, and it's like, I mean, there's so much racial. Like, I have like black friends that'll just be like, they act like they were slaves sometimes because of the fodder they get fed. They'll get stuff like, remember when you were a slave? It's like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, dude, Ronnie, what are you talking about? I'm like, your dad worked at Chase Bank.
Yeah.
When were you a fucking slave, dude? You were the best player on our team, dude. You
Yeah.
got all the girls. You got all the white girls too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look at all the stories. Look at all
But it's
the
like,
stories.
remember when you were a slave? Choose some of this slave
Yeah.
gum, and it'll say you slave. It'll
Yeah.
be like, oh, remember this Richmond, Virginia
Yeah.
gum? You
You
know, now
remember
it's
that?
like tastes like the 1870s. You know?
Dude, they're trying to replace you.
Yeah.
If you're white, they're trying to replace you. You better watch out. You're going to be replaced. Or,
But there's some groups that never get pointed at.
well, what I'm saying is, if you look at the emergent, like you could call the culture war stuff, I think you could actually identify this as a kind of religion or a LARP. Even it's people are LARPing because the first thing that's happening is you're being invited to take a side. You know, if you're a black person, okay, you need to be on the side of what, like if you want to get
Slave
close-
gum or
right.
whatever.
If you're gay, now you need to join the LGBT. You're part of this movement.
Right.
If you're white, you're being replaced. If you're Jewish, the concentration camps are about to start up again. You can look and see that every single person on the planet, if you want to attach to a terrifying,
It's there.
horrible story, you can find it. And the moment you subscribe to it, you invite it in, your algorithm will be flooded with things to confirm your worst fears, giving you a sense that this is real, crystallizing the distortion. This is all happening in 2D space on your fucking phone,
Yeah.
mostly. I'm not saying that there isn't obviously real evil happening in the world right now. But this moment right now, wherever you may be, this moment right now, it's pretty good.
Right.
This is the kingdom of God. This is what I think Jesus was talking about. The kingdom of God is here right now. This is why the symbol of blindness appears again and again. Saul of Tarsus, stoning fucking Christians, which to this day is very popular. You know, they're one of the most persecuted, it's one of the most persecuted religions to this day. And people get mad at me for saying that, but you can look it up, dude.
Oh, who, Christianity?
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
They're
it is.
killing
There's a lot of videos recently that you'll see. It's still happening in a lot of places.
Very popular.
Can you bring up the Saul of Tarsus story, please?
Yeah, Saul of Tarsus. It's a great story. He became Paul.
Saul of Tarsus, thank you. Saul of Tarsus was a key observer and approving bystander at the execution of Stephen, the first Christian martyr, rather than casting stones himself. Saul guarded the heavy cloaks of the witnesses while they carried out the stoning. Wow.
And then who did he become? Saul of Tarsus, the road to Damascus. He's walking, has a vision of Christ. Jesus says, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? He's had a conversion experience.
The story of Saul on the road to Damascus is a pivotal event in Christian history describing Saul of Tarsus' dramatic conversion in the Apostle Paul. Traveling to Damascus to arrest and persecute Christians, he was blinded by a divine light and heard the voice of Jesus. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Now, there's a lot of interpretations of this event. Who knows? But this idea of blindness, Jesus curing the blind man, all this stuff, the blindness. This, to me, is the situation. We're kind of in a situation of
Blindness.
an interesting kind of blindness, because the modern mind thinks that they're very clear. They think that they're seeing things very clearly. They know a sophisticated person, it should be worried about, there's a list of things you should be worried about. This means you're on the right side and you're sophisticated if you're worried about the right things. Certain things, if you're worried about them, mean you're a fucking piece of shit, racist, bigoted piece of shit. You gotta be worried about the right things. But what do they all have in common? Worry. You need to be freaked out. You need to be worried, scared. That bumper sticker. If you're not angry, you're not listening. Now,
Yeah.
that's one of the most satanic bumper stickers I've ever seen in my fucking life. I think the devil himself printed that shit out. It's basically like, if you aren't angry, something's wrong with you. You need to be angry, scared, pissed off, judgmental. Don't talk to those people. Don't look at those people. Don't think those thoughts. Everything about you's fucking wrong. Everything about them's wrong. You got to be in a constant, contorted state of deep anxiety, fear, and worry, or you are not okay. You are not a good person unless you're scared.
And there should be a score now that you get to see when you meet someone, how much time have they spent on their phone?
Yeah.
What apps have they been on?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's kind of not even fair that these algorithms, there was just the Algorithm Act. What was that? They've been trying to get it passed for years now. But, and they've had some cases recently where Meta has been held liable. There was a girl that had a lot of suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
And I believe, had an eating disorder. I could be wrong with that. Or was dealing with Algorithm Accountability Act of 2025, focused on automated decision systems in critical areas, jobs, credit, housing, health, education. And this is according to Perplexity. But yeah, it's like these algorithms should be held accountable. We are letting these, that's where the devil, it's like we're letting these things control. Because I'll watch stuff, I'll see some clips, and if you look at one, then something else comes up, and now you're down a rabbit hole. Then you see somebody from that group, whatever that is, in real life, and you could have an energy towards them.
That's right. I mean, they got you thinking about reparations.
Yeah.
You're thinking about reparations a lot. Why?
It keeps coming up on my feed.
Because your fucking algorithm is showing you this version of reality where there's people all over the place trying to get reparations, which there are people doing that.
Yeah.
But probably not as many as you think there are, because your algorithm is just like, look what they're doing. Look.
So then I see like a homeless guy, and he's like, hey, can I get $1? I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, reparations. You want reparations. And that's just because of you're contaminating yourself. We all have it. I have it too. Everyone has it.
Everyone has it. But that's the thing. Is there enough space to rise up? Is there enough space to rise above it? I think here's the thing. We have to believe that there is and envision a possibility that where there is. Otherwise, there isn't. So that's one thing.
There is. Definitely is.
But dude, even just the fake AI stuff, just to make things a little softer, to soften up the conversation.
Yeah, let's soften it up.
What's a fake AI story? Oh, did you see, what was the one? Brain? I think I put it on the list of, it's in my
No.
Oh yeah, there was this girl, Kaylee. This was the lawsuit. She argued that features like infinite scrolling, autoplay, algorithm recommendations, and beauty filters were engineered to make users engage compulsively.
True.
What breaks my heart sometimes, though, or I don't know if it breaks my heart, but it kind of makes me, I don't know. It makes me mad that I got to sit with some of these guys and they act like there's no crime in their algorithms. They act like there's no like evil goals behind it.
Right.
And I think it's obvious that anybody can see where we're headed isn't a great place. So do you think some of these technocrats just don't have a moral compass? Because something must be wrong.
Oh, dude. I mean, that's a deep fucking rabbit hole.
Okay.
Because you're talking about like the Galapagos Islands, right? Weird creatures there because they're separated from everything else, right? So when we're talking about the Silicon Valley tech overlords, we're talking about a weird kind of Galapagos Island where you've got this set group of people who've been there for a while, who have been engineering the technology that is now being used for mass surveillance, for blowing up Palestinians, for fucking exploding parts of the world, and for hypnotizing children into like being glued to fucking technology, right? And so you're looking at like essentially a warlock. These are the wizards of the world. They are summoning spirits via AI. A lot of them were into the occult. You can look that shit up. And regardless, I think there's public records of some of them saying that they used B.F. Skinner, the behaviorist's work. He was the guy who could make like Pippin's tap dance and shit. They coded that into the algorithms, the same stuff they use for slot machines and stuff in Vegas.
Yes, I've seen that.
Right? So these are wizards, illusionists. So, dude, it's like, do they know what they're doing? Yes. They're making addictive technologies. Can they say that's what they were doing? Hell no.
Do you think it's a unified goal, or do you think they all just happen to each have these things going on, and that's where we are?
Dude, I think that.
And I want to come on y'all show, and we'll go down this rabbit hole.
I love to. I listen, man. I think
we're gonna get into some softer stuff.
This is what I do know. Before we get into the soft stuff, I do know this: Zuckerberg apparently doesn't let his kids on the fucking computer. Apparently, a lot of these tech people keep their kids off social media.
I think I asked him about that, didn't I?
What did he say?
I think I said, do your kids use social media?
Regardless, they have strict fucking guardrails for their kids using social fucking media.
Yeah.
And that is interesting to me. It's like, if this shit's so okay,
What's going on?
Yeah.
I think let's check and see. I'll find out in just a second. I think we asked him about that. But yeah, this was one thing I was saying about this. Like, I remember watching this, right? I think this was last year a little bit. But this is called Brain Bridge, right? Play this clip.
Oh my God.
This is going to blow your mind. A startup company called BrainBridge announced today that they believe that they will be able to successfully perform a head transplant surgery in the next 8 years. The way that this would work is you would take a person with a perfectly healthy and active brain, but their body has cancer or paralysis, and transplant it to a brain-dead donor body. What's crazy is that they said that by doing this, the person that's receiving the new body would still be able to maintain their memories, cognitive abilities, and consciousness. They say that the brain could last several hundred years if it had a good working body, that might be a potential in the future, but that this would also give people with different ailments a second chance.
Okay.
Wow.
I mean, but this came out, and I remember a guy sent it to me. I'm not going to say who it was, but like kind of like a certain type of person.
Yeah.
Sent it to me.
Yeah.
From Birmingham or whatever. And he's like, man, this is scary, you know? And I'm like,
That ain't real.
that's not real, man. You know what I'm saying? But it's stuff like this that we think like, you know, and then you probably have like spouses, like a woman, she's like, oh, yeah, 6 more birthday cakes. And because it said like 6 years it'll be happening, right?
Yeah.
6 more birthday cakes, and I'm gonna have Denzel Washington in my kitchen or whatever, or I'm gonna have, my husband's gonna look like DaBaby or whatever. You can have like a 75-year-old guy with like a body that like looks like a fucking
So fucked up.
like a California raisin and DaBaby's head. Like it's just gonna but that's AI stuff, you know. That's the things that people believe.
It's not real. I've been you know what AI's been showing me? A lot of fake honey badger content, videos, like nature videos. Looks real, like honey badgers like fighting elephants and horses. A lot of AI videos of like God, what are those creatures that defend themselves from shit?
Are you talking about those David Attenborough Fight Night videos?
Well, yeah, but people are now generating very good AI video of like honey badgers fighting shit. And I was watching them for a while before I realized that's not real. Like, because I love honey badgers. It's a different subject altogether. But a lot of these are fake as fuck. Or the hippos spinning their tails and shitting off, you know,
doing that.
Blasting tigers away and stuff. A lot of those are fake.
Are they really?
I mean, it's insidious. It's at that level too. It's not just head transplants.
Like elephant shits on birthday party or whatever. And
Go on Instagram and look up like hippo defending itself, and I'm pretty sure a lot of these are AI. I don't want it to be AI. I want it to be real. But if you look up any hippo, it's a whole genre now. Hippos shitting on various predators.
Yeah, if you guys can bring some of those up, we'll get right back to them. Dude, oh yeah, I saw this thing the other day. Hot air balloons are being used for sex trafficking, and that was an AI thing.
That's so.
And that was an AI thing, dude.
Fucked up.
It's so fun. So now it's like you take one of the most beautiful. Like people are watching like a hot air balloon race, and there's some grandmother being like, there's a 9-year-old, or
there's
something.
There's a kid bound and gagged in the basket of that balloon, getting shipped off to some fucked up island. That's so everything beautiful. Brothels on the moon. Kids being transported in hot air balloons. They're ruining everything.
But then they'll start. But then also, what'll happen then is this piece starts to happen. They take a fake story like that, right? Like of kids being sex trafficked, in hot air balloons, which is crazy. Dude.
Yeah.
Like how many people can even fit in a hot air balloon? Probably 6 to 8.
A lot of kids.
That's true. Probably 4 to 10.
I don't know, but I think I can get 20 in there.
I don't want to know.
We could talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. But no, we're joking. But dude,
we are joking.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, we're joking.
But then here's what happens is they put the story out, right?
Yeah.
Then there becomes this lobbying towards the government. Like now somebody's lobbying for. We need trained officers. We need specifically trained officers who know how to fly hot air balloons so that they can be lookouts for this thing. And it becomes one of those Somali welfare things where it's just a money laundering thing. But it's all based off of, let's put the story out first, create the fear, create the worry, then let's find this other big financial solution that and do all the training and all the bullshit.
Yeah.
So we have something to invoice the American government or any government for, and then the people, our tax money just goes to another thing. Now we have 700, trained like hot air balloon surveillance technology.
I'm sorry, I don't think you realize what you just did, but you have come up with like an incredible series on like NBC. Hot air balloon, like cop chasing sex predators through the sky. Dude, that's an incredible show. Like that would be really fun to watch.
Dude, imagine you're ducking down in your basket.
Yeah. You get a new partner.
You do that heat thing and turn it up.
Dude, I would watch that all day long. That's an incredible idea. But yeah, you're right. It creates a chain reaction, and essentially just shit tons of money gets wasted on something fabricated
Right.
by like a couple of like teenagers in Morocco.
Yeah.
And you don't, or wherever. I don't know. It's
And then
Morocco.
but then they honor him at a football game. It's like, and there's Harold Arthur III. He did 17 years in the hot air balloon surveillance squad. Let's
Yeah.
give him a round of applause.
Salute him!
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You're right.
And dude, but they used to have, I remember they had this girl in our school, and her dad and his friend, I guess, they were kind of gay men or whatever. And they would, they were hot air balloon guys, but they would go up and kind of kiss or whatever. Like they would whatever,
What?
meet up in the, not meet up, I guess meet up in the sky or whatever,
And how?
Or just like lock their, tie their balloons off to each other.
How
Almost like,
does that wouldn't the, like, it's like wouldn't the balloons themselves bump into each other?
I think there's ways you can do that.
Because that is, like, if you're gonna, like, create sort of a spectrum of gay.
What's to hide? They were scared to get seen around town. So you level up.
Like, making out with another dude in a separate hot air balloon is, that's gay.
It's brave gays, though.
It's brave. How?
Brave gays. How was that nice show?
That's the name of the show. That's it. They're gay hot air balloon cops. This is the next Brokeback Mountain.
Dude. Do we have a beat of it here? Did you say anything?
I think that's a big part of it. I try to, like, it's important to me that, the kids get that too. And the kids are very active.
Do your kids have a lot of, like, screen time? Like, how much screen time do you allow your kids?
Yeah, it's different for the different ones. We don't just, like, let them do whatever, but I actually, like, want them to be fluent with this stuff. And, like, kind of like we talked about earlier. I want them to learn the code, how to use technology. I think it's important.
But he's not saying he wants them to use it. He's saying he wants them to know how to code and use technology.
I
It
want
almost
them
seems like,
to be able to create the mind traps that I've created. I want them to be able to build manipulative, seductive technology so that they can lure other children into my trap that will inevitably control the entire planet. But I would never show them the fucking hypno rectangle. I mean, dude,
it's giving that, dude, a lot. Is there any more to it, or that's it?
it's a long answer to a simple question.
Right.
He could just be like, yeah, I put them on it all the time.
There's a lot of socialization.
They have their own accounts.
Obviously, like, happens online at this point. Like, people need to get used to the norms and stuff around that. So I mean, they're not on. They're still too young to be using like social media, but they have Messenger kids. We make it so that they can video chat and chat with their friends,
Okay.
and we'll obviously monitor to make sure that they're just connecting with the people who we think that they should. But like, I think it's actually good. I think people need to kind of grow up. I don't need to is strong, but I think I think it's good if you have an engaged parent and they and as a child you learn up, you kind of grow up learning how to use a bunch of this stuff. So I think that's
okay.
and that's all good. I want the kids to the extent that they're interested in it to learn how to code, learn how to create stuff, whether it's in like Horizon or VR tools, or they play, Roblox and Minecraft.
Roblox? Did he just say fucking play Roblox? Look up Roblox. Like, look up Roblox pedophilia.
Oh, is that where they're doing it now? Dude, this is like the new rest areas. Remember rest areas?
Look at Roblox. Yes. Roblox is currently the subject of heavy scrutiny, including investigations of lawsuits from U.S. state attorneys, local governments, and reports highlighting that predators exploit its massive demographic of young users for grooming and sexual exploitation.
Yeah.
Don't put your fucking kids on Roblox, or like, man, I'm telling you, like, people need to understand that. Dude, do you remember, like, did you ever, like, dig around for your dad's porn?
I remember digging in a hole. Somebody said there was porn somewhere, like, not far from us, and we dug. Dude, we dug. As kids, we probably dug fucking 11 feet into the dirt, dude. We didn't find
A pirate buried his porn out there. That's what Blackbeard's
We
porn
didn't find
is.
anything, dude.
Dude, you just remember
We
how-
did find, like, a CPAP machine, though. But go on, dude.
My point is, we all know that kids, when they know, like, just based on, like, the experience of anybody who grew up in the 80s, at least, or the 90s,
Yeah,
you would find your dad's porn.
yeah.
He could put that shit, like, in a sewer. He could put that stuff,
Right.
he could, like,
He could
hide.
keep it under his hat.
You would get it.
Yeah.
So, like, the idea that Zuckerberg's throwing out there, which is like, you can, like, monitor your kids. Number one, dude, are you fucking kidding? A lot of people don't have time to do that. They don't understand this tech could be really dangerous for children.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have time to monitor. Number two, the fact that he's recommending Roblox, which, as you just pulled up, is currently being investigated right now because dude,
It's crazy.
he just told everyone watching your show, he's like, put your kids on Roblox. Like, you know how fucked up that is?
Well,
I don't
I
think
agree.
I don't think he intended to do
No,
that.
well, it was a past episode. It was probably
Right.
1 year
Yeah,
ago.
right.
But still, I think I don't know. Do they know that pedophiles is going on there? Like, they have to know what's going on, dude. And for years, there wasn't even a blockage, I don't think, between adults and kids messaging each other, which would be the first fucking thing. So part of me starts to question, do some of these tech lords, do they want pedophilia to be a thing that exists in our universe?
I mean, let me answer that question. This is the deal. If you're making
We need to ask a kid.
if you're making like, how much is money worth? In other words,
Right.
let's just say you, Theo Vaughn, invented an app, and you found out that somehow children were being abused through your app. You know what you do?
Shut it down
Shut it the fuck down
and apologize.
on that day. And reparations, give them.
That's your reparations.
That's what you do. You don't keep something going that allows children to be abused. The question is, how much? How much is your mansion worth to you?
Well, here's the thing, Duncan. I agree with you. But people keep saying it's about money. It's not about money anymore. It couldn't be about money. If you have a lot of money, it's not about money anymore. It becomes about the next currency.
Right.
So other currencies are power, and then some of the currencies, it's like you get to be the king, and then the king turns into I think after king is a devil.
Yeah.
I think it's right on the other side of being a king is being a devil, because there's you know what I'm saying, like it's
Yeah.
like everything's just a circle. So if you're a king,
Yeah.
then right after it is devil.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to deal with the fact that the technology you create is being used to distribute child pornography and is hurting children. And then whether the rest of your life should be spent stopping that from happening, not getting taken to court to make that happen. You should just stop it because
It makes me question these guys a lot, dude.
well, you know, human sacrifice, especially the sacrifice of children, is an age-old practice. And just because, like, the energy is being extracted from children using a brand new technology doesn't change the fact that
Right.
this technology is harming children. So
And we're not saying that Facebook is doing that, but he's just saying that Roblox has accusations about that, and that it's obvious that
I mean, you can look. I mean, I don't.
there have been probably instances of adults commandeering children sexually on Facebook.
Obviously, I can't say with the authority of some of the people doing the investigations whether or what's happening, but I will say that if you don't think that social media and online games is being used by predators to fuck with your kids, you are a dipshit. You're out of your mind. What are you fucking doing? And also, might I just add, and I know we're supposed to light things up, when you're posting pictures of your fucking kids in bathing suits,
in bathing suits or no shirt.
and you look, and you can look at who's favoriting those pictures. If 60% of those are like dudes in their 40s,
Yeah.
what are you doing? What are you doing?
Well, that's when you start to realize that there's this vortex that you start to get manipulated by. And that we're being manipulated. It's like watching a belly dancer dance, and next thing you know, you've given all your money. And after you've given all your money, you'll give her your kids, you'll give her your organs, you'll give her your offspring, you'll give her whatever it is, and you don't even notice you're giving anymore. You're not even getting anything out of it anymore. You were just tricked into giving everything all away.
That's right, dude. You said it. Praise the Lord. Throw your fucking phones in a. Oh yeah, this is great. Let's watch this. This will light things up. It's hippos shitting on animals.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we like if we did. Ooh. It's not. I don't think that's.
And
real.
now this, and look, dude, and they'll accuse the animal of doing blackface or whatever.
It's AI though, right? That's not real.
I don't know, but this is the kind of stuff that just breaks my heart.
Because he poses like he sits like he wanted to get shit on. Like it's not real, right? It breaks your heart.
It looks real. He's pissed. Bro, and that cheetah is pregnant, bro. He's probably like, I know where to get some lunch, and he's pulls that old.
It's got to be fake. And this is a whole genre of hippos shitting on jaguars and
hey,
tigers.
bro, don't come on my back and tell me it's raining, brother.
Like, why did he sit there? Like, why? It's like
because it's the old, hey, let's go get some lunch. I'm a shit on you trick. Okay, that's the old thing, bro.
That old class.
What else do we have? What other AI things are out there? There's some other AI things that were fake, or were there other AI things in the news? Or what else could we talk about? Is there something else on your mind you want to talk about?
On my mind?
Yeah.
Right now? Yeah, man.
Do you feel hope as a parent? That's a question. Is it okay if I ask you that? Do you feel hope as a parent, seeing a lot of these open vortexes of the devil that are operating around us, and how we are being like summoned to dance for them, like the brooms in Fantasia? Like, but do you? And none of this is accusatory. Like, I have the same stuff. I'm like, you know, I try to battle it, and it's probably easier because I have less responsibilities than you do as a parent. But it's like we're all fighting this thing. You know?
Yeah. I will never stop loving existence, and I know that people are good. In Buddhism, it's called fundamental goodness. That underneath the fear is goodness, and when you're around a baby, when you're around your kids, you get to see that. You get to see a brand new human before the windshield gets like covered in splattered fear bugs that begin to define their personality. Right. And as a parent, you can't keep those bugs from splattering on the windshield. That's gonna happen. But you also can like maybe you can at least help them understand that love is eternal. That love is eternal, that we're embraced by the universe, that benevolence, kindness, all the things that are taught in Christianity and many of the world religions, these ways of being are not affected by technology, by AI, by all of the things that inevitably are coming down the line. This way, the actual term for Hinduism I've heard is called Sanatan Dharma. It means the eternal way or the eternal path. This path, it doesn't fucking matter if there's cyborgs walking down the path. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I think that's the most important thing to remember, is that what we're calling Satan. Satan depends on us building up that energy, in making it big, scary. This is described as like it's the monster under the bed. It's darkness. Darkness is all you have to do. Step on the light. Gone. Instantly gone. And so the more I think we focus on that darkness and all of its complexity, all of its seeming sophistication, and all of its tricks and deviousness and deception, the more powerful it becomes. The moment you just turn into the present moment, and your own heart and the people you love, it's like a light turns on.
Well, I think we need astronauts too sometimes to go into the darkness, man. We need astronauts to go in there and find the switches too. You know, I think sometimes we need that. I think sometimes it does feel sometimes like we are too, like there's like, a lot of times in Christianity they talk about acceptance a lot, and acceptance, and you know, in a lot of religions they talk about acceptance.
Surrender.
Yes, and it's like you can do that in some ways, but also part of you is like, but when do you like really stand? You know what I'm saying? When do we stand up? Because we're creatures with legs.
Yeah.
You know, when do we stand up and not just accept everything? And maybe that's the phase that we're in now. And then part of me, like I was talking to my friend Curtis the other day, and like we talk about religion a lot and things like that, and he was saying that it doesn't really matter if you win here in the world, right? If the world wins, if we win as a society here, it matters in the afterlife, in the next realm, in like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is just a practice ground for your spirit, like to see how you operate a spirit. It's almost like when you did like school driving or whatever, you know? And there was some guy who was like obviously a pedophile usually, who would get to teach how to drive because he wanted to coach him while he took away his whistle. And so he's fucking sitting there just squeezing your thigh. But dude, he's in there squeezing your thigh. He's like, if I squeeze your left thigh, it means turn left. If I squeeze your right
you're
thigh.
right.
And I'm like, why?
Fuck, dude.
Why are you touching me, dude? So I was just going like in circles, dude. This motherfucker was just massaging me or whatever.
You just fucked me up, man.
But it's just like, yeah. But it's like, or do you think it matters? Because sometimes I care too much. I feel like if we win here as a people, as opposed to like, if my like, as opposed to like, that's curing the meat of my soul for the next like refrigerator or meal or
Well said.
charcuterie board of existence. Does that make sense?
Charcuterie board of existence. It's very poetic. I know what you mean. I just think, you know, the move is, you look at this thing, and now you're worrying about literally all of humanity.
Right.
How do I fix all of humanity? That's a very anxious.
Right. It's an anxious place.
Instead
It's
of
not fair to you. It's not fair to us.
you can't. It's
Right.
not your job. And I think that doesn't mean you should be some kind of impotent, pseudo-spiritual person who isn't actively trying to make the world better. But since you're the first part of the world you encounter, how much time are you spending seeing if you can reduce your own fear and anxiety and increase your ability to have compassion and love for the people that you encounter throughout the day? And, you know, if enough of us do that,
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Thank you, Peterson and Elon Musk, for helping. Thank you to Brett Weinstein, Jordan Peterson, and Elon Musk for helping connect us. They
Well,
all three
we
reached
are
out.
going to see Elon on Sunday, so he's been an incredible support for us.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you want to play I'm totally in your hands. I'll follow your lead. But I mean, he's been helping us because Britain's in bad shape, and
Yeah, and that's why you're here. And this is what we're talking about.
well, the rape gang we've done. This is we've
There it is.
crowdfunded this,
Okay.
which I'm very happy to talk to you about. Which I think,
Just this title of that rape gang report.
yeah.
The idea that there's actual rape gangs in the UK in 2026, and is it being ignored? Is it being downplayed? Like, how is it being received by the media and by the politicians over there?
Well, the history of it is that basically, as you probably know, Britain, after the war, decided they were going to play a part in Europe, a bigger part in Europe. Well, our elite did, the British elite. And to do that, they had to basically diminish the power of the nation state, and they had to head towards this European superstate, which is the EU, the genesis of which was obviously an monopoly.
Why did they have to diminish the power of the nation to do that?
Because I think Britain was a proud nation state. We with the American help, we'd won the war, and we hadn't been invaded or conquered, which most of Europe had been. So you'd had mass dislocation in Europe. Huge numbers of people had been dislocated and pushed all over Europe. And I think the socialists, I was in the European Parliament, so I spent a brief time as an MEP, a member of the European Parliament, when we finally achieved, a kind of Brexit. We can talk about that, but it wasn't a proper Brexit. So I think the genesis of the rape gangs, going back to this, was the fact that multiculturalism was the order of the day. They wanted open borders, they wanted a multicultural society. They basically felt the nation state had been the cause of world wars, effectively starting with Napoleon. Then obviously we had the Kaiser, then we had Hitler. And I think they saw it that way, the Monnets, the Spinellis, and the people who constructed the European Union. So to the rape gang report, which was your question, ultimately the genesis of that is this multicultural invasion almost of Europe.
Can I pause you for a second? So what you think is that the multicultural invasion, the way it was set up, was on purpose, and it was on purpose to sort of diminish the idea of nationalism?
Yes, I think that well,
so this was like a long plan. So this was something that they must have had to sit down and, like, who would be involved in this sort of a discussion where you would be willing to diminish patriotism, diminish this idea that Britain by itself is exceptional and the people are exceptional?
It was a long, deceitful plan. So I always say...
Who implemented it?
The European elites in league with our elite, who effectively, if you remember, in 1975, we joined what was called the European Economic Community. It wasn't effectively anything other than an economic union. But that very quickly changed, and effectively they tried to politically integrate Europe. That failed, and then in 97 they tried to force it through with the introduction of the euro. So having failed politically, they tried to do it financially. That was my first foray into standing as a member of Parliament, to fight to save the British pound, because once you lose your currency, effectively you lose your sovereignty and your national identity. And our gold reserves were going to be shipped out to Germany, to Frankfurt. And we would have become a vassal state, part of the European Union. It would have been irreversible. But in the event, we, thanks to Sir James Goldsmith, we secured enough votes. We forced the establishment to promise a referendum before they surrendered to the euro. And we ended up saving the pound, which in the end resulted in the referendum in 2016, where the British people voted to take back their sovereignty, which ultimately, I think the establishment always knew that the core, the body of Britain, and the body of England in particular, wanted its own accountable parliament in Westminster. It didn't want to be part of an unaccountable European socialist protectionist superstate.
So the quote-unquote elites in Britain and the elites in the United States, it's coordinated with both of them. So
I think less so in America, Joe. I can't speak for America, although when you look at what the Democrats did with USAID and all the stuff that was going on under Joe Biden, you have to wonder whether they began with the World Economic Forum to play a part in this. But I think the post-war plan for Europe was founded on a socialist principle, whereas I think America has always been a very sound, politically based structure, based on obviously the founding fathers and your constitution, which I always think returns power to the individual, and has always understood that the dangers are statist dangers, not individual dangers. So I'm very much in the camp, I like the individual and a minimal state, and I think that's much more in your DNA than it is in the European DNA, which tends to be more statist.
Right. So they did this on purpose, and they brought in people from what country specifically?
Well, initially you got in Britain, you got people from Africa. You got the Windrush generation. So you got a lot of Africans came, ostensibly to fill jobs that they always say the British people don't want to do, and it gathered momentum. It was relatively slow to start with. So you had an influx of people coming to the UK. You had open borders in Europe. So one of the absolute embedded rules they have is this freedom of movement concept. So they don't have effectively we still obviously had the channel, but we embraced this and we started this immigration. What happened is it gradually happened, and I think these rape gangs have been going on, or we know they have, for 30, 40, probably 50 years, to a lesser extent. But when Tony Blair got in and he undermined a lot of constitutional sort of historical law, you got an acceleration of immigration from other parts of the world, not just from Europe, but also from other countries, South Asian countries in particular, who came to the UK. And the genesis of the rape gangs really is, I think, the cultural oil and water mix of these people coming from what I call clannish societies in South Asia and coming to very high trust societies such as the one we had and the one you have here, which have taken thousands of years to develop. So they're high trust societies where, and you know, Lee Kuan Yew based Singapore on post-war Britain, where you had honesty boxes for newspapers in London, and you had a country that was completely at peace with itself. So it won the war, it respected peace, it respected freedom, and people were rebuilding their lives, having fought a Second World War to free Europe from sort of, in this case, Germany. Previously, we'd done it at Waterloo when we relieved Europe of the French with Napoleon. So it really accelerated after '97 when a lot of the legislation that Tony Blair and his cohorts passed, such as the Human Rights Act, which embeds within it the ECHR, he created the Supreme Court, they passed laws like the Equalities Act, and there are a raft of other legal acts they passed which effectively empowered a multicultural society, which in some ways I think damaged the interests of the British people. So,
and you think this is on purpose. And this is my point, is what is the benefit for them to be joined up with the rest of Europe? Is it just purely financial? Is it a power-based strategy where if you can diminish the quality of life for people and institute more laws and put more restrictions on them, you can control them easier, and it's less pushback for the politicians, less pushback for the people that are in charge?
Basically, yes. I think it's the age-old battle between individualism and collectivism. So I think the EU is a collectivist construct, whereas I think Britain, as it was under our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, which, as you probably know, our Bill of Rights in 1689, a lot of that was lifted by your founding fathers who embedded it within the US Constitution. So, and that embeds freedom of speech, it embeds the individual, it embeds all of the rights that I think make the Anglo-Saxon world great. And
so how did it deteriorate to the point where they're arresting 12,000 people a year for social media posts?
Joe, it's shocking. And this is why I have got involved in politics. I've been involved in politics since I fought the Maastricht Treaty and then stood, as I said, in '97. I did a lot for Business for Sterling, a lot for Vote Leave, and I stood for the Brexit Party and I was elected there. So I've been fighting this march towards an unaccountable state which effectively rewards collectivism and punishes individualism, to the extent that now I find myself at the age of 68 as an MP running a party called Restore Britain to try and reverse this tide, to re-empower the individual, to return to our original constitution, and to protect the interests, above all else, of the British people, to whom I think government should be accountable.
Do they still have that kind of unchecked immigration? Is it currently ongoing?
We still have illegal migrants arriving by boat. They can't be under the current laws and treaties that we're part of. They're not being deported. The judges, thanks to the creation of the Supreme Court, they are now a Quango, a woke Quango. I think a lot of our judiciary is corrupt. So the answer to the question is we still have illegal migration, and we have people living in Britain illegally. We have a lot of foreign prisons in our prisons, and we have people who come in under various waves of immigration. One of which, the biggest of which, was probably under Boris Johnson, who was actually a Conservative Prime Minister, who allowed thousands, hundreds of thousands of people to come into Britain and basically they are now a burden to the British taxpayer. So the answer to your question is they're arriving illegally still, they're living here illegally, or living in Britain illegally still. We've got foreign criminals in our prisons, and we've still got the legacy of this huge amount of immigration which took place.
And are a large percentage of these people receiving welfare from
Yes.
the British government?
Yeah.
What percentage?
Most of the people who arrive, they're all supported.
So immediately, as soon as you get there,
In Parliament, I see the contracts. Thanks to my parliamentary questions, I'm allowed to ask questions and scrutinise the contracts for instance, the Busy Stockholm, which is a boat which cost the British taxpayer £1.5 billion. It's actually now lying redundant, not being used. But I've seen the contracts for these illegal migrants in terms of the laundry services they get, in terms of the taxi services they get, in terms of the food they require. I mean, literally, it is like it's like staying in a very comfortable hotel. And we've now got these people being settled all across our country.
how many?
In hotels. Well, I don't think the government knows, to answer your question. I don't think they know how many people are living in Britain illegally.
Was it the similar situation that America had over the last 4 years, where on the low number, they think it was 10 million people came in, which is insane. It's an insane amount of people to come in 4 years.
We think there's enough work to do initially to detain and deport people who are arriving illegally. I mean, to my mind, illegal means illegal,
Right.
so it's fairly straightforward. The people who are arriving illegally, people living here illegally, the foreign criminals, there's plenty of work to do to remove them from Britain. And then I think we need to turn our attention, and that's in our mass deportation document. I've given you a copy of that, which effectively sets out the constitutional reasons why we have a problem, how we correct those constitutional issues, and how we then practically detain and deport the people who aren't supposed to be here. And once we've done that, we'll then turn our attention to people who are living in Britain, to your point, who are on welfare, who are going to cost the taxpayer a fortune for the rest of their lives, probably, who aren't working, who are culturally different to us, who have a different view of their religion to the Christian religion, and are increasingly living in small groups of people who haven't integrated, who are living under Sharia law and who have their own courts. And who
They have their own court.
They have their own courts, Sharia courts, yes. A parallel legal system.
Okay, so it's an unrecognized by the British government parallel legal system that exists inside of England.
It's tolerated.
Tolerated.
It's tolerated.
So they're aware of it.
Yes.
And they're aware of the punishments that this court dishes out.
It's rather like they're policing their own people under their own laws.
And they're just allowing that.
They're allowing it. Now, I believe, I don't know about you, but I believe if you come to our country, you should live under our laws.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the idea of the United States in particular is a melting pot. And, people come from all over the place, and it's one of the cool things that there's all these different cultures. But there's certain cultures that if you allow them to come into your community and then they institute the laws of the country where they came from, you're going to have a real problem. Like, they don't live the way you live. They don't have the same respect for women that you have. They don't treat them the same way. They don't allow dogs. Like, there's a lot of
That's right.
stuff that a lot of people might not even be aware that come with that problem. It's like the idea is supposed to be that Western society is inclusive and progressive because we're intelligent and educated and we care. But you can care so much that you let in criminals, and then you give those criminals all your money, and then the criminals can take over your country slowly but surely. So, and this is no one thinks that's a possible thing. No, people look at the Colosseum, you look at ancient Greece, and they think, wow, I wonder what happened to those guys. What do you think happened? Probably the same shit that's happening right now to England, the same shit that could have happened to America. Civilizations fall apart for various reasons. And one great way to get them to fall apart is to bring in a bunch of people, and they don't have to follow your laws, and they bring the laws of, wherever they're from, whatever fundamentalist religion country they're from, where they have a bunch of crazy laws that are kind of archaic.
Well, this is Sharia law, Islamic law, as you probably know. I mean, again, to your point, I think the best example I can give people of what happens if you do that is when Lebanon got its independence in 1948. They were a Christian country, and they were a very competent country. They were, they had the best universities. They had a very open society. I never went to Beirut. I don't know if you went to Beirut, but Beirut in the 60s was meant to be the best place on earth to be. Great wine, freedom, very enlightened. It was great. Lots of people were there. The minute that the Muslim population went over about 15%, you started to get a problem with a civil war. You got the Druze and Maronite Christians in a civil war with the Muslims, and now Lebanon is a Muslim country, and Hezbollah, backed by Iran, is effectively running the show. So to your point, I couldn't agree more. And the Rape Gang report, which we've written, was crowdfunded by 20,000 concerned English people who we raised not a huge amount of money. We raised about £600,000, and varying quantities people gave, and we did it because the government will not have a statutory inquiry. So our government, and particularly the Labour Party, have been presiding over this. It goes to the Muslim bloc vote. So we have in the UK a system of postal voting. And in a lot of the inner cities and the places where these Islamic populations live, they are or have historically voted Labour. That's beginning to change. They're beginning to vote for Muslim independence now, and I sit with some of them at the back of Parliament. So effectively, this inquiry we did, we set out with a completely unbiased view of what we would find, and we did it because we were pushing the government to have a statutory inquiry. And a lot of the reason I got involved in it was I think it was Elon Musk who triggered. He talked about it because a lot of people in the UK, I don't think, know the extent to which this has been happening and the length of time it's been happening for.
This episode is brought to you by Onyx Off-Road. Ever wonder how to reach these epic mountain lakes, their tucked away, dispersed campsites? With Onyx Off-Road, politicians, like, why don't people know about
Well,
this?
it's a total failure of the media, because the media are supposed to be an independent body that holds to account failures of the state. And it's basically because this block vote through the postal voting system, which needs to be changed, is effectively, or has been, keeping the Labour Party in power. So they've put power ahead of principle. And in the report we cover this. We covered the reasons why it's so serious. And to your point, we even cover, as you quite rightly say, the fact that dogs are not liked by the Islamic faith, largely because Muhammad liked cats, he didn't like dogs. And what we wanted to do was interview victims, which we did. We did it properly. It took us over a year. We had a rape gang victim, Sammy Woodhouse, who led it. She's got a child by her rapist. And we had a team of people, and we literally produced the witness bundles, and we listened to the witnesses, and then we had a 2-week hearing in London where people gave evidence, and we had a proper barrister who effectively presided over it and then helped us write the report. It's effectively Graham Smith, the barrister, did a fantastic job. And we didn't start out with any preconceived ideas. It started because we read some court transcripts of some of the people who've been found guilty of this, which the government, by the way, has tried to keep quiet. Some of the historical court transcripts disappear. So we've been calling for these transcripts to be kept now. We've actually tried to make a noise about that. And the more we read this, the more we carried on with the rape gang inquiry, the more it became clear to us that obviously there's a link between this power and the abuse and grooming and, if you like, damage that was done to white working class English girls. And it does go, and in the report we've looked at the reasons why, to your point, there is a cultural difference of opinion between an open, high-trust Christian view of women particularly, and the Islamic view of women, which is all in the report. So, for instance, as you probably know, if a woman accuses somebody of rape, and a lot of these Muslims come from Pakistan, they're predominantly Pakistan, and they're predominantly from one part of Pakistan called Mirpur. And there are some from Bangladesh, there are some from Somalia, there are some from Eritrea. There are other Muslim countries that perpetrate some of this, and of course there are white people who perpetrate rape as well, but nothing on the scale of this. This is quite horrific, and our report has effectively uncovered this. I think we've played a part with this report in the government saying that they're going to have now a statutory inquiry, because we didn't have any statutory powers to be able to force people to appear at our hearing, and they all appeared voluntarily. The government can actually force people legally to appear. They can actually make it a legal requirement that people attend. We couldn't do that. But there had been reports in the past. There was the Jay report in 2014, and there's been the Casey report, all of which confirmed that this was happening, and the state still continued to try and pretend it was just happening in a small number of siloed areas where you obviously had a high Islamic population. The state has equally failed to collect data on the crimes that are perpetrated, so the ethnicity of the people who are perpetrating the crimes, and from there you can extrapolate, once you've got the data, as to whether or not you've got an extraordinary problem in one particular section of society. And again, using my parliamentary questions, I've been forcing as much disclosure as I can get, and this is how we've discovered that a lot of the data that should be being collected by the police particularly, by the National Health Service, by social services, a lot of the data has not been properly collected. Possibly because the state does, I think, know that this is happening, but they don't want to admit that their multicultural experiment, which, as you probably know, famously Enoch Powell warned would fail with his speech, the Rivers of Blood speech, for which he was heavily criticised. So I think they do know, but they don't want to admit it. They don't want to be called racist. They don't want to, and this has permeated the whole of British society since Tony Blair. People are frightened to be accused of effectively being biased and white. And we're taught about things, you probably, I don't know whether you have it here, unconscious bias and all of the other sort of what I call woke DEI-driven rubbish, which has permeated Britain in the same way. I think it may have originally come from you guys, but it's certainly had a huge effect on us.
I think it had a great grip on us for a few years, and it's lessened its hold.
Well, thanks to the Donald. Yeah.
Yeah, that helped a lot, and I think a big part of it was Elon buying Twitter, where you got legitimate free speech, and which is again back to this 12,000 people getting arrested each year for social media posts recently. Like, that is, how is that tolerated? I just don't understand how people aren't. I was about to say up in arms, but that's also part of the problem, is that no one's armed over there.
We are. Well, I have actually got some guns, Jesse, because I have a farm. So when you come to the UK, I hope you'll come and shoot some pheasants with me. But
if you don't have a farm,
well, if you don't have a farm, you'll find it very difficult to get a gun of any kind. And even if you have a farm, so Reform tried to politically assassinate me in 25, early 25, and made false accusations about me threatening to hit one of the Zia Yusuf in a meeting, and somebody was saying I went around Parliament saying I was a very good shot and I was going to shoot Zia Yusuf. I mean, as if you believe that, I've got a completely clean record. I employ lots of people, I have lots of businesses, and I've never had an issue. But listen, 4 armed police turned up, took all my guns away. I mean, and I'm a member of Parliament. I said to them, guys, you could have just called me up and we could have talked about it, but no. They turned up.
Just from an accusation.
9:30 at night. Left at 11:45. We got them on the cameras. Took all my guns, all my ammo, and it took me 5 or 6 months to get them all back. But look, so they don't want the public to have guns, and they are doing their very best to damage the shooters who perfectly legitimately like to go and shoot clay pigeons, who like to go and shoot game, who like to go and hunt. effectively, they're trying to make that very difficult through the licensing laws for guns. As you probably know, they banned handguns
The 90s, right?
in the late 90s because there was a murder up in Dunblane.
One murder.
One murder. So everybody, my father used to shoot pistols for Oxford University, and he's dead now, bless him, but he had, all his pistols were taken away. The pistols he used to shoot with at Oxford University. I mean, we now have a society which needs radical change, and we need to release the individual. And to your point on social media posts, there was a lovely lady, Lucy Conley, who was locked up for 32 months for just a very emotional social media post, which she deleted after 4 hours, about the Southport killings, where this chap, Axel Rudolph Barnes, went and knifed 3 young girls and killed them, despite the fact that the British state, through Prevent, is aware of this. We've had a similar case recently with Henry Novak. Again, was actually, I think on this occasion, a Sikh, stabbed him. And the police, despite the fact when they arrived at the scene, he told them he'd been stabbed. The police didn't believe him, and they tried to handcuff him. And as a result of that, it's arguable that they opened up the wound, the stab wound, and he drowned in his own blood. Meanwhile, his murderer was never handcuffed. So this is where the British state's gone completely wrong. So instead of one law for everybody and one policing for everybody, this sort of view that the white population is racist, which I don't personally believe them to be, I think Britain is a very tolerant.
Do you think that this perspective that society sort of adopted in the UK about white people being bad, do you think this was there was architecture to it? This was by design? That this was done? Or is this just a natural response to people being called racist? Because of course, in the past, there was more racism than there is today, and people always want to point to that racism as, you know, evidence of colonialism, evidence of whatever it is that happened in days past. But why in England do you think that narrative took hold so well?
Because I think, Joe, to your point, that this post-war plan for multiculturalism, I think they realized that
So it was by design.
They've got a problem.
So part of it was probably infiltrating the universities and promoting these kind of ideas.
It's almost as if, with the World Economic Forum, there's this view that the Anglo-Saxon nations have commanded and dominated too much of the world's resources, and there's almost like this misguided altruistic view that we should become more concerned with global welfare rather than the welfare of our own citizens, which I totally disagree with.
Well, there's also the "you will own nothing and you will be happy."
This is your Klaus Schwab,
which is hilarious that someone would even say that out loud.
I know.
You own nothing and you will be happy. Like, is this a part of an Orwell book? Because this doesn't seem like a real person would say something like that. Because who the fuck is going to listen to that? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, George Orwell's been rather accurate in some of his
dead on. He was
predictions.
actually pretty optimistic. Like his version of the world was, you know, a little bit more palatable than what we're dealing with right now.
Interesting man, old Etonian, fought in the Spanish Civil War. I mean, he was a very quirky Englishman who clearly had a hugely prescient foresight, and I think probably certainly like me, he had a healthy disrespect for what I call collectivist statism, and he was a very much an individual and a believer in the individual.
It's really interesting because when I first read that book was in high school, and I kept thinking, like, what a crazy, this would never happen. This is not even possible, but what a crazy world this guy's created in his imagination of things going completely haywire. And then you realize as time goes on, oh, that's totally possible. It's totally possible that things can get that ridiculous. I mean, when you're dealing with, you know, biologically male athletes that compete against women because they identify as a woman and use women's locker rooms, all the craziness that we deal with today, the open border situation, no one's illegal on stolen land. Hey, fuck off. Like, what are we doing? Like, what is this?
Well, it's almost as if we're subverting all the things that make us great.
it's probably a good idea to make sure someone's not a fucking murderer before you let them in. Like, the idea that there should be no border at all is like, if the world was perfect, that sounds wonderful. If the world was perfect, everybody paid their taxes and everybody followed the laws, why have borders? Clearly, it's not perfect. You know, go to Pakistan, go to Karachi, go hang out, go down the street as a woman in a miniskirt and see how that works out. Go to some places
again,
in the
Joe,
world.
this is you're quite right. This is, I mean, Pakistan is I think,
it's a wild place.
Example of a rogue state, basically. And I think their view of, as you say, women who dress in ways other than the ways of Sharia, i.e. totally covered.
Yes.
And again, it's all in various of the hadiths, which we quote in the Rape Gang report. They are considered to be meat, and this is something I've never understood. How do you square this circle of this sort of clannish, backward-looking culture, which comes to a highly open, high-trust society, and then embeds itself within that society and undermines everything that we've achieved over 1,000 years?
And acknowledging that is somehow or another racist. Acknowledging that some cultures are superior is somehow or another racist. But just understanding human rights, understanding the rights of individuals to be free, to not be subjected to other people's archaic laws. And this is, look, a lot of cultures in this world live as people lived thousands of years ago. No one in the United States wants to live as people lived thousands of years ago. No one. And this is not a racist thing. Like, you should be able to come over here and practice whatever religion you want. But if your religion has rules that violate the laws that we've all agreed are just and fair, then you're not integrating. And if you take over a whole town, and now that town is subject to these archaic laws, we've got a problem. And if you let that problem get bigger and bigger, they take over the country. And that's an actual possibility for certain countries. And we have to recognize that civilization is not as sturdy as we like to think it is. It's kind of flimsy in a lot of ways. A few bad things can happen, and things can go sideways quite quickly.
Well, I think liberty is very fragile, isn't it? Ultimately, if you don't protect liberty, you lose it.
Right.
It was Margaret Thatcher who was very strong on this.
And you have to have laws.
You have to have laws,
liberty.
but what you also have to have is everyone should be equal under the law.
Yes.
And to your point, I couldn't agree more. I mean, Britain used to be a very tolerant society. So, for instance, Europe was very anti-Semitic. Britain was never anti-Semitic. We used to welcome a lot of the Jews and Protestants from Europe who were being persecuted, particularly in France with the Protestants. So we were a very tolerant society. The people who came integrated and they contributed. And that is the essence, I think, of sensible integration. So it should be limited, targeted. It should be only people who accept your religion and your culture and your...
But what do you do, though, if someone comes over here and then they're not violating the laws, they're not violating the laws, they achieve citizenship, but then they start bringing over more and more people and then start instituting Sharia law? What do? You deport them all? Like, how do you, like, this idea of having all these people, recognizing how many people got in illegally, deporting them, mass deportations, deporting criminals, it all sounds great until you talk about actually implementing it. Like, how do you do that? How are you doing that? Are you going to knock on people's doors and pull them out of their homes and ship them back to where they came from? Like, well, how do you do that?
I think the first thing you do is you stop them coming across.
Okay, well,
the
how
channel.
many?
They shouldn't be coming anywhere under international
estimate?
law because they're traveling across safe countries, so they shouldn't be coming.
What's the estimate of the amount of illegal immigration that you have in Britain?
It's almost impossible to say how many people are living there illegally or living with us illegally. But in our paper, I mean, we think it's sort of 1.8 to 2 million people, probably. That's our estimate. But people arriving, we know how many are arriving. There's a lot arriving every day, particularly when the sea is calm.
How many arrive every day?
They're coming. It can vary. I mean, you can get 1,000 in a day. You can get, if the sea's rough, you get none, because obviously they suffer if they try and cross in little overcrowded dinghies. They can't get across. But we're paying the French over £500 million a year to try and stop it. That, I think, is not happening. And as a result of that, our border patrol picks them up, gives them bottles of water, brings them in, and settles them in in hotels and pays them welfare. They become, and then they apply for residency, and they say they're asylum seekers. I argue most of them are economic migrants. But you know, our woke culture is not protecting the interests of the British people.
And it's also a massive incentive. If you live in a terribly poor country and you can just get to England and then instantaneously you will get money and housing,
That's right.
why would you not do that?
Well, not only that, you go to the top of the waiting list for dental treatment, which British people don't get. The NHS,
What?
you go to the top of the waiting
Wait a minute,
list.
they get access to dental treatment that the British people don't get?
Correct.
Why? Why do immigrants get access to it?
Well, this, Joe, is the mystery of what our leaders, I don't know what they think they're doing, but they have this misguided view that these people are, actually they call them asylum seekers, they say they need to be looked after and protected. They're not, they're economic migrants. And to your point, if they know there's welfare when they reach Britain, they'll travel across multiple safe countries to get to the welfare, the free housing,
Yeah, of course.
and all the other stuff. So, and then unless you deal with issues like the rape gangs and you force them to adhere to UK law and respect our laws, our culture, and our religion, they gradually set up their own cultures and with their own laws, as I said, and there are large tracts of the country now where we've got these Islamic settlements which effectively operate almost as a sort of parallel society. I don't know whether it's quite the same here, whether you've got the similar thing with the Somalis in Minnesota.
You do in Dearborn, Michigan. Dearborn, Michigan just had a gigantic Islamic parade where you just see tens of thousands of people holding flags and walking on the street, and
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy. It's crazy that, and they've also one of the things that's funny about Dearborn is all the progressives. It's a very liberal place. They're like, welcome, welcome, everyone's welcome for all cultures. And as soon as they got into power, they banned the pride flag. That was the first thing they did.
Well, I'm afraid they have quite strong views on that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, that's why Queers for Palestine is always hilarious. Like, and then you see the meme Palestine for queers, and it's throwing people off roofs. It's
it's like the chap who runs our Green Party is a gay Jew. So I mean, he's going to have a problem if these guys get anywhere near power. But that doesn't seem to put the progressives off. They still seem to.
But this is what's crazy, is that their society is like Islamic society is completely patriarchal. The women are absolutely second-class citizens. They have completely different laws for how the women can dress. What happens to the woman if someone has sex with? If someone has, first of all, if they commit adultery, they can be killed, like,
stoned to death.
Yeah, and I watched
It's
a horrible video where a father did it to his daughter.
Yes, well, you do get these killings.
Honor killings. Yeah, or brothers. The brother will kill the daughter of the daughter shaving the family. It's like, hey guys, how are you progressive when you're supporting this? And it's because the concept of not being racist, not being called racist, the fear of that's so strong. They're willing to adopt all sorts of things that are the complete antithesis of everything they believe.
Well, in the UK, I don't know if you have it here, but the Me Too movement, it fascinates me that they never seem to say anything about these, what I call clannish, tribal cultures who have a completely different view of women.
Yeah.
And to your point, again, in our report, a woman, if she accuses in Pakistan a man of rape, she has to have 4 male witnesses who actually have to witness and swear that they've seen her being penetrated by the rapist. And you've actually got women in prison because if she can't prove that she's been raped under those rules, then she can be sent to prison. And there are many women languishing in Pakistani prisons for that very reason. And this is the sort of extraordinary cultural oil and water which just doesn't mix, Joe.
Well, it's also the mental gymnastics that you have to accept that as a part of Britain, and because you're progressive, is really crazy. It just shows how these ideologies, these cult-like ideologies, can completely defy logic, completely defy common sense, and just You have a set of rules that you're supposed to adhere to. If you deviate from those rules, you're a racist. You don't want to be a racist, right? Then everyone's welcome.
As you say, it's honor killings, it's tribal.
Yeah.
It's your first loyalty is to your tribe and your family, not your host country who's actually got their own laws. There are all sorts of hadith rulings which they can use to justify it. For instance, if they rape a white girl, that doesn't count in their view of life as adultery. So they are effectively taught that a girl who doesn't dress as they would dress is meat to be abused, and they have these extraordinary sort of cultural views that are completely incompatible, in my view, with a society like ours, where we are a matriarchal society which respects women. I think we have grown to respect them. Obviously, they've now got an omnipotent position within our society. Certainly in the UK, I'm sure it's true here too, and quite right. They play a part in our society. They're a very, very important part of everything. But again, under the Islamic code, I think that the Muslims are frightened of female sexuality. It's all there, and as you know, you get FGM, female genital mutilation. So these cultures, I think, Joe, and to your point, are just incompatible unless you have a very strong government which basically protects its electorate from any subversive behavior which is not compatible with our values.
You keep using the term meat. Is that how they actually refer to it as?
That's how they consider it. Yeah.
What do they say? Like how are they?
Well, it's in our report. That there was actually, I think it was.
Is it a translation of?
I think Thomas Jefferson, actually, it's in our report, asked the Barbary pirates about the way in which they treated their slaves and their women. That was particularly slave. They just also slavery is accepted within Islamic countries. So I think they have their own codes. They have their own terms of reference, and there is a quote in there. I'd have to look at the report to give it to you, but where one of them does liken white girls not dressing as Muslim girls dress, and he does liken it to meat.
Jesus.
And that is an analogy he used. So I mean, yeah, I think that's what they think.
This rape gang inquiry report that you have just released, the number. I want you to say it because it sounds so crazy. If I say it, it's going to sound wrong. What the number of people that were victims, the estimate?
Well, we've estimated that a minimum of 250,000 rapes. It's probably much more, Joe. Because we published in here, I think it's a list of 147 parts of the UK where this is happening. Now, the government tries to tell you it's happening in Rochdale, Oldham, one or two Bradford, one or two centres, and that's why their statutory inquiry, the terms of reference of that, have now been downgraded. So they make it look as if it's not a systemic problem, but just a little local problem, which it isn't. So we've listed here, and they're all in here, the places where we know it's happening from our rape gang inquiry. But every time we publish this, Joe, I get people emailing us or sending us messages on social media to say, what about Red Roof in Cornwall? What about it's happening here, it's happening here, it's happening here. So I think it's incredibly widespread. And there's other people who've corroborated that 250,000 figure. That's an incredibly conservative figure. You can't be exact because the state is not collecting the data, which they should be doing. And we've been lobbying in Parliament to make sure that the state's collection of the data improves. And then we can actually see the extent of the problem, and you can actually pinpoint it in the same way that we've done it in this report. So this is, I think it's linked to organised crime. I think it's linked to the drug trade. I'm pretty sure it's linked to drug trade, and obviously it's linked to prostitution. So as usual with an evil like this, and you've got girls who are transported around in the back of pickups and in cages. And at our rape gang inquiry, we had examples of girls who were raped by dogs and filmed, either anally raped or vaginally raped, and literally watched, filmed, and a lot of it's about servitude and about, there's other stories in here about women having to lick the feet of their rapists. It's about power, it's about servitude, and it's about the fact that Muslim men are taught to believe that they are superior, not only to women, but they're superior to people like yourself and myself, who are considered to be, if you like, the infidels. And their job is to effectively spread Islam and effectively punish the infidel. And as you probably know, in the Crusades, if you lost to Saladin and you were a Knights Templar, a Crusader, you had two choices. You either converted to Islam or they killed you. And in the case of a lot of these girls, a lot of them were made pregnant, they were impregnated, and they then had to convert to Islam. Some of them were trafficked to Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, other parts of the world. So look, I mean, this is a massive national scandal, and I'm hoping, now I'm an MP, we've written and this should stimulate debate. I can send a copy of this on a PDF to every MP, and we're going to send this printed copy to all of them as well. Because everybody in power should look at this, and they should start to correct it immediately.
You use the term is used, rape gang. Why are you saying gang? And this is an organized practice?
Yes.
So it's not as simple as Islamic men are raping poor white girls. It's that they go out in gangs specifically for this purpose.
These are properly organized gangs who are grooming and abusing young girls as young as 10 or 11, and then literally trafficking them around the country. We know that from the testimonies we've had. So originally, when I went into Parliament, I was elected late. So I was elected in July 24. So at the tender age of 67. We heard them being referred to as Asian grooming gangs, which I think is a misnomer because it's unfair on, for instance, the Japanese or other Asian cultures who don't do this. So when thanks to Elon Musk, we actually did, and as you're quite right, thanks to him giving us a free speech platform, and Facebook's thankfully followed as well, so he's led the charge through his purchase of what was Twitter. So when I gave a speech in Parliament where I said they're not Asian grooming gangs. I'm going to call them what they are. They're Pakistani Muslim rape gangs. So I said this in Parliament. So Jamie will drag it up if he goes on to because everything goes into Hansard. And I gave this speech, and it caused shock in the House of Commons. Now look, I'm not the smartest kid on the block, but what I do in Parliament is I tell the truth. So I'm only interested in telling the truth and getting to the truth and changing the way in which we govern. That's what I've gone into Parliament for. I haven't gone into this. I give my parliamentary salary to charity. I'm a reasonably successful person who's lived his life. I've been chairman of a football club. I don't know if you're interested in Premier League football, but I was chairman of Southampton, so I built the stadium for Southampton. I used to play competitive hockey, and I built up the youth academy at Southampton. I loved, the best day of my life was when we got to the cup final in 2003. We lost 1-0 to Arsenal, but it was the most amazing experience for everybody. So look, I'm not doing this because I want necessarily to be doing it. I'm doing it because somebody's got to do it. And if we're going to change Britain, we've got to get the public to buy into what we're doing. And as I say, I'm not a classic politician. I'm not saying you've got to vote for me. I'm saying that we've got to change Britain by 29, or I think the country, from what I can see, is in terminal decline. So I sit on the Public Accounts Committee. I see the waste. I see the unaccountability. I see the way in which the civil service, to does not serve the people which it's supposed to serve. I see our debt rising to nearly 100% of GDP. I see massive misallocation of procurement on our weapons. I see fraud in the judiciary. I see all the things that...
Sounds like you're talking about America.
Well, I'm talking about Britain at the moment, Joe. But
It seems like it's a widespread problem.
Well, I actually think America under Joe Biden probably was as bad as that. And if you look at what Elon and the boys uncovered with USAID and all the misallocation of taxpayer funds, a lot of it to England. Some of it came from woke boards in England. So look, whoever the architects of this are, whether it's the World Economic Forum, whoever they are, whether it's the Bilderbergers, whether it's the Council on Foreign Relations, whether it's whatever malign influence is trying to do this, we have to collectively try and reverse it. So I'm saying to people, if you want, I will do my damnedest to reverse it. I've run multiple businesses. I was in the City of London for 20 years, so I know about finance, and I will commit to doing whatever I can to reverse this for the British people. But they've got to buy into it, Jeff. They've got to buy into it.
Well, are there people that are in denial that this is happening, that this rape gang problem is real?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. Labour.
And what do they say?
Well, Labour just tries to look the other way.
But when confronted by the numbers, what is their response?
Well, demanding a statutory inquiry, and in the end, we crowdfunded this.
Right. What is their response to that?
Well, their response to this has been pretty muted, to be frank. I mean, the BBC haven't covered it at all.
Really?
A national monopolistic broadcaster, paid for by a compulsory fee, have not covered this as a matter of public interest. Nor of Sky, nor properly of the Daily Telegraph. GB News has covered it tiny. Patrick Christie's covered it one evening of it. So this is a massive national scandal that deserves a complete and utter airing.
How does the BBC justify not discussing this?
Well, the BBC is part of our problem, Joe. So to your point about, the Democrats, the BBC is a deeply malign organisation. So it was set up to inform, educate and entertain. And it was set up by a man called Reith. And Reith was a highly principled man. And I think at the time it was set up in the 20s, it probably did have a role. But in the digital age, where most of the young people no longer watch their news on the BBC, they get their news from whatever their favourite news channel is, Breitbart, whoever they go and get it from, they get it from somewhere else. But if you want to watch sport and you want to, basically have your TV, you have to pay the TV license.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Summer is great, isn't it? It's the perfect season for adventures, but it can also be pretty exhausting juggling chaotic schedules and trying to make the most of summer. There's still a problem that I'm sure exists in England just as it exists in America. There's a certain subset of our society, a large percentage of our society, particularly older people, that things are not legitimate unless they're discussed in corporate media. And that if it's not in the New York Times, if it's not on CNN, if it's not, fill in the blank, then it can't be completely legitimate. It has to be a fringe thing. It has to be a conspiracy thing. They still need these sort of legacy establishments to give them the news, because that has been the way they grew up. That has been how they were trained.
Yep.
And in their mind, they don't understand the internet completely. They don't go on Twitter. And so all that stuff to them is just too fringe. So that's always going to be a problem. And if someone like the BBC doesn't cover this stuff, for a lot of people that are woefully ignorant, they can still kind of claim that ignorance and dismiss it because the BBC isn't covering it.
That's exactly right. I mean, that's a very good summary, because the BBC historically was totally trusted, and their news bulletins were designed, as I say, to be impartial completely. And being a public sector broadcaster, their job was to cover matters like this and create debate. But as we know, monopolies go bad. I mean, monopolies, in my view, are generally a bad thing, particularly in the digital age where, you know, and thanks to Elon Musk and what he did with X, I think he has released free speech. I think he has returned some sort of semblance of people's ability to be able to force debate without being bullied by a monopoly like the BBC. So if I ever get near power, I will responsibly defund the BBC as one of the first things I do. I think the BBC is dripping poison into the veins of Britain every day.
What other examples of what the BBC is doing do you think is dripping poison?
Well, I think a lot of their coverage is not objective. It's woke. I mean, they're into all this DEI. They're into obviously the LGBTQ+. They're into all of the things which I think, as we said earlier, probably came from this Democrat period. But it's been happening for a long time. I think if you look at the Labour Party, again, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Fabian Society.
No.
So the Fabian Society was set up in the 1880s. And it was basically most of the Labour front bench and most of the Labour Party are members of the Fabian Society. So the Fabian Society, George Bernard Shaw was a member of the Fabian Society. You'll have heard of George Bernard Shaw. So it's the most extraordinary organisation. Their emblem is a wolf in sheep's clothing. As if that doesn't tell you what they're doing.
That's their emblem?
So
Can I see what that looks like?
that's their emblem. It's a
I need
wolf
to
in
see
sheep's
this.
clothing.
Fabian Society?
The Fabian Society.
I need to see that.
You should have a look at that.
I might have to get a T-shirt.
And shall I tell you what else they were?
I need a T-shirt.
Shall I tell you what else they were? They were eugenicists originally.
Whoa.
Yes.
When?
Well,
How far back?
Bernard Shaw, George Bernard Shaw. was
Look
a
at
eugenicist.
that. That is damn crazy.
Well, everyone should look at the Fabian Society because that runs deep through the veins of Labour.
That is damn crazy.
What do you think of that?
That is damn crazy. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just listening to this Fabian Society coat of arms is really a black wolf that has a sheep's body strapped on top of its back. And it's like covering its body. This is insane. That's crazy. What a complete disdain for anybody else's intelligence. Like they're not even trying to hide it. They're just like
They're all members. The front bench are all members of the Fabian Society. So
that coat of arms is.
Keir Starmer is also a member.
I need
of,
a T-shirt, Jamie. Please order it.
You want to hold in? you want a Fabian Society T-shirt?
Yeah, just for a goof. I think it'd be hilarious.
But no, so that runs through the Labour Party. So that's all part of it. So I think the agenda has been, to your point, they're infiltrated our education system. And, you know, I'm proud of our history. I mean, Britain stopped the slave trade. It cost us a fortune. We did it almost unilaterally. And, you know, we, I think, on the whole, have been a force for good in the world, not bad. I'm proud to say that. I've studied a lot of history. I think there are many other cultures, probably the Belgians and the French, who are far more brutal than us with their colonies. So I think we tended to leave a legacy where we tried to instill the rule of law. Look at India. Look at a lot of the other countries that we were involved with. They're now flourishing because of I think, the structures that we left in place. And it's very sad to watch us almost turning in on ourselves. And having left the legacy in other countries, we ourselves have lost sight of what we should be doing.
It's just it's really extraordinary seeing the perspective of a lot of young people that are very impressionable that come out of universities and have an utter, complete disdain for these successful societies.
Can you hear me?
And instead of looking at these successful societies and saying, well, yeah, people were really terrible in the past, but this is a pretty good example of how people should be treated equally today. No, it's not perfect, but it's progressing in a better direction than it was in the past, right? Instead, they look to the past and everything is built on this horrible history of outrageous, atrocious acts, and therefore it must be punished currently. And all the people that benefited from it, specifically white people, need to be cast out. They need to be silenced. Multiculturalism is the only way to go. Complete open borders. Like the way they look at things is like, how do you think these countries got so good? Like, what do you think is about America or about England, about any of these countries, that leads them to be where they are today? Well, it's a long history of progress, a long history.
Hello?
And along the way, yeah,
Can you hear
like,
me?
especially
Help
when you
me.
go back hundreds
I'm
of years ago,
stuck.
people were fucking terrible.
Hello?
They were terrible everywhere. You know, humans are
Hello?
just getting better at being people,
Anyone?
like pretty recently. But to throw it all out and abandon it and to think that socialism is going to fix you. Like, do you guys read anything? There's not a
Hello?
single example of that
Can you
not
hear me?
turning to tyranny.
Help me.
And
I'm stuck.
their take on it is always it
Hello?
hasn't been done correctly. And that is
Hello?
so wild that people are still
Anyone?
willing to swallow that. And the only thing that makes sense is they've been indoctrinated through universities to think this way. Because nowhere in the real world do you think that
Hello?
equality of outcome ever makes any
Can you
sense.
hear
Because
me?
everybody realizes
Help
somewhere
me.
along the line,
I'm
when you get your
stuck.
first job, when you're
Hello?
a kid, when you're going through school, when you're playing sports,
Hello?
there's not equality of effort.
Anyone?
There's never equality of effort. And there's always some people that want to put in more effort and they're put in more thought and more focus and they get further. And, you know, oh, well, they're fucking over all these other people.
Can you hear
Are
me?
you sure
Help
that's
me.
everything?
I'm stuck.
Because it seems like it's
Hello?
not. And it seems like as soon as you remove
Hello?
any incentive to
Anyone?
succeed, then you don't have any of the amazing stuff that you have around you all the time. The reason why you have beautiful televisions and Starlink and all that, it's capitalism.
Hello?
It's you have to incentivize
you hear
people
me?
to create these things.
Help
Yep.
me. I'm
It doesn't
stuck.
mean the only way to
Hello?
do it is to fuck other people over. That's not
Hello?
correct. It can be done
Anyone?
correctly. It can be done humanely. It can be done wisely. You could vote with your dollars. You could, you know, boycott companies that do things that you don't think are ethical. There's all sorts of wonderful
Hello?
ways that capitalism could be used,
Can
and
you hear me?
can sort of influence things
Help
in the right
me.
direction. But
I'm
to
stuck.
throw it all
Hello?
out and say we've got to go socialism, like,
Hello?
oh boy.
Anyone?
I can't believe people are buying that. That to me is one of the real problems with not allowing conservative voices in universities, and that these universities,
Hello?
especially in the United States, are
Can you
a
hear
lot
me?
of, especially
Help
like
me.
in
I'm stuck.
sociology,
Hello?
psychology, and the overwhelmingly liberal.
Anyone?
Like, surely there's got to be some historians out there that are conservative, and they would have a different perspective, and it might be good to have diversity of opinion,
Hello?
as well as diversity
you
of
hear me?
national origin,
Help
as well
me.
as diversity
I'm
of
stuck.
gender, as well as diversity of
Hello?
sexual orientation. Yeah, all that stuff's great.
Hello?
But also diversity of opinion.
Anyone?
Like, the only way to know whether or not this person's making sense is to have someone who completely disagrees that has a better point
I
go up
at
against
ease.
them, and you watch them duke it out.
Mike,
And as soon as you
just give me a
silence all
quid, I'll
that
pop.
because
Don't dally.
students
Give
don't
it your
feel
all eyes.
safe, or because, you know, this is promoting X, Y, and Z, this person's a Nazi, oh, they're a Nazi, we can't let them. As soon as you do that, you ruin the whole thing that a university is supposed to be doing. It's supposed to be preparing young minds for discourse and for communicating and for figuring out the world on their own.
Once
They're
again,
eventually going to be independent entirely on their own actions and decisions, and go out there in the world, figure out your way. Arm them correctly, and the way to do that is to expose them to all sorts of different competing ideas. The idea that that was ever accepted to be shut down in this country, especially in America, is a massive failure of the education system. Just massive. If you think that someone has bad points, come up with better points